Welcome to the Thinking Tackle podcast. Now, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Now, today we are delighted to be joined by a guy who is a bit of a UK carp fishing legend, but also has fished for some of the very biggest carp in the world. Mr. Clive Gibbins, thank you very much for coming in.
You're very welcome.
How are you?
Good, really good.
Happily
retired.
Happily retired.
Yeah.
Do you miss it?
It's strange.
Because you were a big part of the trade, the angling trade, it's fair to say, isn't it?
For many years. Forget about work. I was just speaking to Rooney about it. Instantly, it's very strange. Bear in mind, I speak to my boy every day who now works for Korda. Mm-hmm. You fill your day with daft things.
Much fishing?
Oh, I'll be busy today. I've got to go to the shops. It's bizarre. I've had a really busy year. It's quiet now, isn't it? The weather's a bit... No, I don't do a lot of winter fishing, if any.
Really?
I've got a dog.
You know, when you were working all those years in the tackle trade, did you think upon retirement you might fish more and haven't?
No, not really. No, I don't think so. I probably have the opportunity now to fish a bit more, obviously. But I still got quite a few French trips penciled in. And if you add up the French trips that I do, it comes to quite a lot of fishing anyway.
Yeah. Like a night a week or something, maybe.
Well, yeah.
Not quite.
Not quite, but... No. And then going down to a member of the Baston Reedy Syndicate. Mm-hmm. I intend to do a bit more there this year. I did very little last year. But
well, that's good, though.
It was a busy year. I was... My lad, Chris, used to say, Dad, you're always doing something. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. I mean, so UK fishing's still a thing for you, Clive?
Yes, it is, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a bunch of albums on the table in front, and these are just to help guide me, because it's fair to say you've done a lot of fishing, both home and abroad.
Yeah.
And you obviously haven't been watching too many of our podcasts, Clive, because you have brought us a gift. It's a bit of a throwback, this.
I thought that was part of the deal.
Well, I think it was like a year ago, but anyway, let's...
there you go. Well,
thank you so much, mate. I don't know
more than welcome.
You could have wrapped it, Clive. Come on.
He's got two toes.
Oh, okay.
Gifts.
I'll let you off.
Yeah.
So this is a classic.
Yeah.
Viewing. It's classic. It's
essential
viewing.
Essential viewing. Tell me what it is, Clive.
Champagne carping at Les Lacs de Verger, France.
And starring who?
Myself, Clive Williams, and John Richards.
Now, Clive, we had in
right
as well. So we only need John to complete the trio.
Yeah. And we called ourselves the secret agents. Very corny.
Because
we were all sales agents.
Tackle agents, yeah.
And this was a blatant product plug.
Oh, Clive, no.
It was. There's no getting away from it.
Right. Clive, do us a favour. Just show your camera over this side for us.
Show it to...
This one over
that one?
Yeah.
There you go. Can you see that?
Yeah. This one over here? Yeah.
That one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Champagne carping.
And it's still in a wrapper.
Yeah.
I'd leave it in the wrapper. It could be worth millions.
It could be, mate. I mean, the DVD market's not what it was. It's fair to say the DVD market's not what it was. But we're very pleased to have it, Mate. And I think, without wanting to spoil it, you can see it on YouTube as well if you want to. And we're going to talk about that rig in a bit.
Famous hemp rig.
Hemp rig. Let's talk about that in a bit. You brought something else as well, bless you.
That's a bit of fun, but I thought you might like this one. That's a picture I took at Gigantica.
Look at that.
And I've signed it.
I'm going to hold that up, Tobe. Hopefully that's in the right place. He signed it. It's a signed picture. What swim's that?
That's wicked picture.
That's tree line.
Oh, in the tree line. Okay.
Yeah. I always have.
Is that moonrise or sunset or
moonrise?
Moonrise in the tree line. Very, very atmospheric, Clive.
I always have lots of time to take pictures when I'm at Gigantica.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you been for it? It's quite prolific now, isn't it? These days.
Not when I go.
Now, what I want to do, mate. Thank you so much for those gifts.
You're welcome.
What I would like to do, though, is start. We're not going to go right the way back. We're going to spare the viewers from the whole how did you get going in fishing. We want to talk about the carp fishing scene in what many would consider to have been quite a golden era in Yorkshire. I'm quite conscious on this podcast that we don't get enough northern voices on here, so it's great that you've made the I don't know
happen.
So you've come down. You still live in Yorkshire. You're a Yorkshireman.
Yeah, I do.
Which meant that you had fairly slim pickings, Clive, when you wanted to start carp fishing, or when you did start carp fishing.
Yeah, to the degree that we used to look at maps ordnance ever match and see where lakes were, and then try and find out if carp had ever been put in those lakes, things like that.
Yeah.
But there were two well-known commercial fishes, Baker's Pond. So we are going back to when I started. We can't really help
Carp
that.
fishing though, right? Not
carp.
fishing.
No,
'cause-
carp fishing. And Emmetland
Yeah.
was another one. So I caught my first carp at Baker's Pond, by accident, fishing for tench, thought it was great. The next thing I'm hooked, I'm on it. And then you kind of, Baker's Pond's about an acre, I think, about 11,
Famous
12.
though, right?
You've
I'd heard of that.
So many people started the carp fishing career at Baker's.
Yeah.
Incredible. Then I went on to Emmetland.
Another famous lake, it's fair to say.
Bear in mind,
Yeah.
there's no herring. We're talking well before the herring. We're freelining bits of sausage meat, kitty cat paste, things like that. Come 81, let's jump to 81. Yeah. No, we'll go back a little bit. So from there, you realise you're fishing commercial lakes. And then there was the Brands Burton Ponds, Hull and District Brands Burton Ponds. Sparsely stocked, really, but wild, a bit more in the countryside, a bit. And I remember thinking, am I ready for this? Am I ready to take these lakes on? So that was good. Caught some of those. And then the hair rig was 81. Got shown the hair rig by Tim Paisley.
Okay.
He gave me my first boiler recipe.
So you're already moving with some big names.
Yeah.
Although Tim perhaps wasn't as famous as he was going to become.
But let me just say, and apologies to anybody who's heard a lot of the stories I'm going to say today. My mates will have heard them a million times. But when I go back to, so I was really into it, really getting into it. Couldn't think of anything else but carp fishing. I probably knew of, if I didn't know them personally, most of the carp anglers in Yorkshire. Right. To this day, I don't know all the carp anglers in my street. Seriously, you see, oh look, he's putting a bed chair and a rod hold on his. It's incredible how it's changed.
But you had a personal audience with someone like Tim who's
very much so. I met him at Cuttle Mill.
Right.
Gave him some cigarettes because he'd run out, and that was kind of bonding.
Yeah. And and you found out obviously Tim was from the same part of the world, or was living in the same part of the world.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
So, and he was well into it. So he gave me the hair rig, gave me the boiler recipe. He took me fishing with the hair rig for the first time at a place called Roman Lakes, which is Marple in Cheshire. And showed me what to do. Well, I'd never fished open bayline before.
Right.
I was expecting I missed it.
Yeah.
But they're obviously going to get a screaming take. So I forgot to close the bail on the first ever run from a carp on a hair rig. The rod went back, caught the fence and snapped the tip ring off.
Oh. Why did Tim take you under his wing to such an extent, Clive?
Because I'm nice. Well, there weren't that many of us.
Yeah.
So
But see, you'd have been 20, getting on for 20 years younger than Tim.
How old is Tim now?
He's 85.
I'm 69 in March.
He's 85.
Yeah, there you go. So, but it was a much closer-knit community. There would be Greg Fletcher, Jim Fielding from the Sheffield area and one or two others. But if you were a carp angler, you kind of like, ooh, there's another one.
It would be kind of like the equivalent of someone bumping into, Dan Fairbrass on the bank and him taking them fishing, apropos of nothing.
Oh, yeah. It was,
which seems mad now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, talk about a bait guru. He's like a mad scientist, Tim.
Yeah.
You look in his cupboard where he kept all his ingredients. It's incredible. But they're very simple recipes he gave me.
Yeah.
Say that we're going to vary off the topic a little bit here and there, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. Feel free to go on whatever tangents you want.
This is another story people have heard, but I'm not naturally good at carp fishing, but I've had enough experience at it. So you pick up the things you think are important along the way, don't you?
Yeah.
So we basically had these recipes. It was soya, full fat soya, semolina, bit of wheat gluten, I think, some kind of Formula-S baby food, something else, monosodium glutamate, I think. And Tim used to threaten to kill me if I ever told him about the secret one, if I told anybody about that, which was a sweetener, and it was called liquid hermasitas. It came in a conical shaped glass jar. That was 5 mil of that to your mix. Don't ever tell anybody about that. And we had 2 flavours to start with, myself and Scoils, Brian Scoils. I had Ketchum cinnamon and Jeff Kemp's evaporated milk and ice cream. They were our 2 flavours. I made 1 red, cinnamon, I went with 1 yellow. Rolling it by hand, on the kitchen table, and this was a really important thing I learned early on. So I was fishing Beer Bakers, I'm fishing Emmetland. If you took the cinnamon to Emmetland, you wouldn't catch anything. If you took the ice cream to Bakers, you wouldn't catch anything. So like, wow, not all baits work at all ponds. And
Really?
Stuff I don't understand, it'd be pH levels and stuff. Because the cinnamon, used to measure it in little plastic syringes.
Yep.
So I'd put like 3 mil in, and eventually it was whatever it was based on would melt the plastic syringe.
Wow.
To the point where you're going like that. And I remember somebody reminded me of it the other day because he was there when it happened. It shot up, and the tiles were like that, but they were made out of like foam.
Yes.
Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Like it melted those.
Oh,
Melted the tiles.
where was this?
In my kitchen.
In your kitchen.
And then we put that in, I think, 3 mil per 6 egg mix.
Yep.
The evaporated milk and ice cream, fantastic, lovely smell. We put that in at 1 mil per dry ounce of the base mix. So you put 16 mil a pound, 16 mil.
Okay.
And they just like, they were so different.
Yes.
And obviously different in ways I didn't understand. So
Did being around these guys inspire you to want to know more about bait? You don't.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So because Tim, it's fair to say, was operating at a level where he's looking at scientific research papers and the like at that stage. Was that something that
I
interested
didn't
you?
go
or not?
that far,
No.
but people might think, "God, you're not like that, Clive, anymore, are you?" No, I'm not. I'm far more relaxed about it all now. But I used to ring up Duncan Kay and find out what his thoughts were on amino acids,
Amazing.
glycine, methionine, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we'd make these things up. It was so like mad.
Yeah.
Like you take this paste somewhere that's got all these weird things in it and made based on sodium caseinate. It was like rubber sometimes, and you get loads of bites. You do what you thought was exactly the same again, probably put too much on it, get nothing. So it was really hit and miss.
I mean, it's no surprise that you then, in later years, you've accepted a bait, very much you're using someone else's bait. You're not necessarily needing the input that goes into it. And even Tim did that, didn't he? He was happy to use Trigger, he was happy to use Kev's gear, like the Activate and the likes, just out the bag in the end.
Well, life's a bit too short to be rolling 20 kilos of oil, isn't it? In my opinion, some people, I still know people that do it, and they get a great deal of satisfaction out of catching fish on the bait they made themselves, made their own recipes. There's only so many things you can put in a carp bait, isn't there? Only so many ingredients. It's quite a big list, but their recipes are bound to be based on this stuff.
Yeah.
The fish meals and stuff like that.
What do you think is the best bait you've ever used, Clive?
Ooh, that's a good one.
If you, a gut
You didn't tell me
reaction,
that
what's your
was
gut?
coming,
No, I
did you?
didn't realise it was coming until it popped in my head. Then. What's your gut reaction?
Okay,
to
I'm
that?
not going to specifically mention one,
Yep.
but I think it's important. I think bait's really, really important. What's one of the things people say? Well, when they're hungry, those carp will eat anything. Well, I don't think so. And there's things they'll prefer.
Yes.
And if you're on that particular bait, then you've got to shout. You could go through some of what I'd call classic baits. So obviously, Nutabait's Big Fish Mix, Trigger, Mainline, Activate, Cell. One I've never used, but it's obviously a good one. Essential B5.
Yeah.
You kind of know it's proven. It's carp come back to eat more of it. More latterly, Sticky Krill, Manila. I wouldn't veer far from any of those, really.
No, but you have hedged your bets in a massive way there, Clive. Come on, let's push. Let's push for one. You're going fishing tomorrow. You can choose any of those baits. Which one are you taking?
Lordy. Well, it depends how much is in my freezer at the minute.
Listen,
Really?
no, it's fine.
Don't.
It's fine. Let's
If I might follow up on that, rightly or wrongly, I've always thought when I go to a lake that I've got the best bait that I can possibly take.
Yep.
And that might vary from one lake to another. I tended to book the trend a little bit sometimes, which worked for me sometimes and didn't. So if somebody said, you want to be using cell on here,
Yeah.
well, I probably wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was all the big fish will have been caught on cell.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it might be totally wrong. It's just my opinion. I'm going to try something else.
Now, I think we're going to talk about this in detail when we come around to your, like we introed it. You spent quite a long time in more recent years targeting some of the biggest carp in the world, and I think planning obviously comes into that to a large degree, and in terms of planning what bait to take, as a, to kind of target those fish in a fishery that has lots of other carp. So let's talk about that. We'll shelve that for the minute because I don't want to veer too far from Yorkshire just yet.
Okay.
And as it turned out, you did catch a couple of the very biggest carp in Yorkshire during those particular times, didn't you?
I think the only one I didn't catch that was kind of A-team Yorkshire, Hull and District and my surrounding, without varying, going too far. I never caught them at the Tarlery big un, as they call it, the big un.
Yeah.
Other than that, I caught quite a lot of the others, and I caught all the big ones in motorway, to my knowledge. Caught the big un twice.
Which I think before we rolled,
By the way, my favourite lake, I think, of all time.
Really? Talk to me about motorway. I'm sure that we're out of kilter here in terms of chronology, but motorway is a famous lake. Tobes has just put a picture up of the big un there.
Yeah.
And this was a fish that not everyone who set out to catch it, including some very talented anglers, managed to do, Clive. And you had it twice.
Yeah, I had it twice. I had it at £36 the first time, backed up with a 29.4, one called Nelson, which at the time was the biggest brace in Yorkshire, allegedly, which is good. There was quite a few. It was a great water, I thought.
Why was it so good?
Well, it wasn't heavily stocked. I mean, from a fishing point of view, it was lovely. It had everything. It's like all over the place. Have you walked around the place?
I've seen it.
Yeah,
like a sort of islands and promontories.
You've got snags, you've got pads, you've got open water, you've got islands, you've got all sorts, reedy bays. It's fantastic.
It just the only thing I guess is it's right on the motorway.
Yeah, on the motorway bank, obviously. There's things going past you at 80 miles an hour all night long, but you're 20, 30 yards away from that. But I loved it. I really, really enjoyed fishing.
Not a ticket that was easy to get.
No, at the time. No, you had to go on the night permit thing. But yeah, not far from home either, which was a bonus.
Yep.
I really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. There was a bit of a weird thing there. Somebody pointed out to me once. Ian Bruce, he's quite well known Yorkshire angler. He said, "Clive, I've noticed you don't really start catching them until June, and then you really start catching them." I thought, yeah, he's right.
No, any ideas?
Who knows? Maybe I was using fish meals too early or whatever. I don't know. Not on the spring spots or whatever.
What did you find the key to unlocking that lake? Because, like I say, it was moody, wasn't it?
To start with, I decided I literally stuck with one peg. I thought I'm going to learn the peg, fish this peg, and it wasn't a particularly favoured one called the glass swim. And eventually, I caught a couple. Thought, right, we're off and running. And started to catch them. This Danish Point was a good swim I liked. The sand swims, social swim on the motorway bank. They were my favourite swims, really. Excuse me. And when I did have a really good session, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I was the first person to use pellet.
Right.
Pellet and boilie.
Yep.
Using.
And would that have been like a conventional trout pellet?
Yeah. It was conventional trout pellet with probably big fish mix boilies. Used to put a little PVA stocking on the end.
Wow,
nothing's changed that much.
Pretty cutting edge for then, though. Like, what we're talking, like mid-90s? Stage? Yeah. Why was the
93?
93? Why was the lake tricky? What do you think made it?
Well, there weren't that many in it. It wasn't rammed with them. There was a lot of tench, more bream, tench. Had plenty of places to hide, but it produced big fish. I mean, it had a lot of, for Yorkshire, had a lot of 30s.
Did it?
Well, again, it's all relative, isn't it? For the day, it was and they had a 40-pounder. The big fish made it to £40, 41 and a half.
After you'd caught it.
Yeah.
So, talk us a bit about the sort of tactics that were being used on there. You've mentioned the PVA stocking. What we're talking about in terms of rigs and bottom, presume bottom bait over there?
Well, combi rigs and a little pop-up.
Oh, pop-up,
Yeah.
And were these special pop-ups or match the hatch? What
Yeah,
kind
we
of
match the hatch.
Really?
Definitely match the hatch.
What cork balls that you've rolled yourself?
Yeah, cork ball pop-ups.
Yeah.
I've always, with getting riggy, there's certain things you cannot do. I can't fish a pop-up more than about like half an inch off the deck. I just can't do it. And so that's how we did it. And a combi rig, we used to put this PVA stock in. We used to put a little bit of polystyrene in the end of it to like keep it buoyant.
Yep.
Because you're often fishing too weed, or
very weedy lake motorway.
in parts.
Yeah.
See, it got everything. It's fantastic. Absolutely loved it there.
Clear water. Were you able to observe the fish?
Yeah, to an extent you could. It wasn't rammed with them. Never. I think there's possibly 18 acres of water there. I just absolutely love the place.
And your combi, would that have been like Dacron and Silkworm?
No, it was Amnesia.
Yeah,
Amnesia
and Silkworm.
Yeah, I had a bad experience. When you haven't tied them right.
Yeah. When you haven't pulled it down, or
when you just get the amnesia back and not the other bit.
Thankfully, it's never happened to me. But,
it has to me.
Yeah. And what kind of hooking arrangement are we talking for the pop-up?
Wow. But I'm guessing it would, honestly, you're testing my memory here, it would be some kind of blowback arrangement.
Okay.
It would have been silicon tube up the shank holding the hair in place.
Yeah.
So you weren't de-rigging or anything like that.
No, but equally reasonably sort of advanced.
Yeah. It hasn't changed that much, has it? And the basic principles of carp fishing will always be the same. Find them, most important thing. Feed them something they eat, and then hopefully.
So what was a good season on the motorway, Clive? Like how many would you hope to get?
20.
Yeah, top rod was.
Yeah, again, you never quite knew who was top rod.
Yeah.
So no social media. You might catch 6 fish and they're on your camera, and you might not have them develop for another 3 months, and you weren't in total, constant contact with all the other anglers.
And some of them presumably were just day anglers. They didn't have the night ticket.
Get a day ticket.
Yeah.
They could catch them on day ticket as well. Yeah.
So again, you're not going to come into contact with those guys regularly.
No, there just wasn't that kind of, what have you had?
A scene. Then we've got Tobes has just put up a picture of you with a mega carp.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this one, Clive, and also the fashions
outfit.
are good. The fashions are
outfit.
good, aren't they? So describe to those listening, Clive, what's in this picture.
My hair is basically the same, but just a different colour.
Yeah.
That's they call it longfish. I had that, I think, 3 times, and I had it at a good weight at 33 eventually, but that was 28.4, I think. And
lovely carp.
To put it in perspective we've talked about it before, 20-pounders were they were like to dream of. When there were the 20s, upper 20s and 30s in motorway, and it sounds ridiculous, but that afternoon I caught that. I think 3 people from Newtobates, Lee, Bill and another, drove from Rotherham to photograph it. That's how kind of like, wow, that's a fish.
They drove all the way to photograph it, and you've got a solar top on.
Well,
gutted.
Gutted. I mean, it'd be sacked these days, wouldn't it, doing that?
But were you working for Newtobates at this stage? Had you started?
I've been representing their products.
Yes.
So let's put it down to the fact that I was just advertising solar stainless, not the bait.
Absolutely. And then we've got bright blue Reebok joggers on. Solar sort of polo. No, just that it's different.
Didn't matter in those days.
They couldn't see you.
No. No. That's from the sand swim. I remember that was from the sand swim.
You know when you said that you spent time learning the first swim, the glass swim?
Yeah.
Did you then go round the lake and do a similar thing?
No, I dotted a little bit about. I got a bit more confident then.
Yeah. Once you'd had a couple of bites
on the bank.
Yeah. And how much did your approach change from the moment you set foot on there to the moment, let's say you left? Had the way you fish changed?
Probably hadn't changed that much. There was the pellet thing that definitely turned them on, definitely. So I did well with that. I could spend a whole podcast talking about the things that happened there and things again you learn.
Yes.
Another thing people say is baits don't blow. In my opinion, they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was one of the first people to use 3D, NutriBaits 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, because I had that a little bit previous to everybody else and prior to everybody else, then eventually everybody starts using it and the catch rate slowed down. There's no two ways about it. The run's dried up. I had a kind of like a Beano period when I had it to myself. And other people started using it, more and more carp getting caught in it, and the bait's dried up. So I got NutriBaits to make me the same bait and put, I think, 2 drops of black pepper oil in it. They were off again.
And now this is a very Paisley sort of thing to do, isn't it? It's to talk about labels on baits and the way that carp are recognising baits. Do you think it's those early influences, the likes of Tim, that made you think, no, I'm going to get my bait tweaked and that's going to start things off again?
Yeah, but I had the opportunity with
Yeah.
working for NutriBaits. So one of my favourite things was to mix 2 base mixes together.
What fun, Clive, that must have been.
Big
though.
fish mix Enovite,
Yeah.
and then probably a fruity flavour, things like that. Always extra betaine, please.
And
Extra
even if you
green lip
did nothing,
mussel,
you
liver
felt
powder.
you felt you were getting a Rolls Royce of a bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's backfired on me. Like we kind of nearly broached on it before because I remember I went to Le Cuy. We were going to a French trip, but it's relevant to this story. And this bait I had, it smelled absolutely awesome. It was, I think it was probably trigger, big fish meat and Enovite all mixed together with all the bits and pieces I wanted with a plum flavour. Honestly, it smelled fantastic. Now I made one fatal error. They said, we've got this new stuff called caproic acid. Yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Wang some in. I couldn't get a bite. Literally could not get a bite. So he's catching over there. I'm in a good swim. He's catching over. There's fish all over the place.
And you didn't have a backup sort of thing?
Didn't have a backup at all.
Mm-hmm.
So this is ridiculous. So I was backed up to another swim. So I'm on Elf Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And you're only a few steps away from a lad that's in Old Lake, who I thankfully got on famously with. Met him the first time there, Martin. I said, Martin, give me some of your bait. Give me just a bag of your bait. I put like 30 baits out, went for dinner, came back and had 2 fish within half an hour.
Wow.
Now, they weren't eating my bait, were they? They wouldn't want anything to do with it.
And do you think it was the addition of that caproic
Could have
acid?
been something.
No.
But you get things wrong.
Yeah. But this wasn't a bad ingredient, was it?
No, but maybe it was a testing time.
Mm-hmm. That
Taking a risk.
That came
doing
with the
it.
territory, Clive, did it?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fact that,
testing bait.
yes, you could have your bait rolled to exactly what you wanted, but they also wanted you to use new stuff when they had
Of course, yeah.
But that's great.
A
that
reaction.
Field testing was actually taking place.
Oh, definitely.
and
the trigger was field tested for ages before they.
Well, let's come on to that because I do want to capture a little bit of the job side of things. I don't want to sidestep the motorway completely, but we're going to come back to that in a second.
Okay.
But how did you start out becoming a representative for? Well, you've done an awful lot of the biggest brands in fishing, haven't you?
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yeah, it's quite a simple story, really. So, my first job was in a supermarket management. Used to see reps. They came in brand new fancy suits, brand new Ford Escort in the car park, always telling jokes, having a laugh, and Saturdays and Sundays off. And I was grafting my balls off in a horrible blue nylon jacket. Really, I mean, like, horrific job. Horrific. So I thought, I'm going to have a go at that. So I got a job with United Biscuits. Eventually, from United Biscuits, went to a firm that became engulfed by Coca-Cola Schweppes. So the big companies, but they're really switched on, by the way, even in the 70s.
Were you getting you getting training coming in from like the parent company and stuff?
No, not really.
No, you
they'd
just
send you out. They had a sales area,
Yeah.
and they'd have one of the lads who'd be be promoted to sales trainer. So you spend a few days with him. So he's pointing in the right direction. Then you get your own round and off you go. But then eventually I went from there. Now this is to make you laugh if you don't already know who I worked for. And that was a proper good job. I was the regional sales manager for the north of England, Scotland and Ireland for Mills and Boon.
Oh, the romantic novels.
Romantic novel. Seriously. Oh, what a job.
Did you
What a job that was.
You consumed
Massive
the
big
products
flash-
as well, did you?
Sorry?
You consumed the
I was
product.
on
did
the
you?
front cover.
Oh, yeah.
It never went beyond the bedroom door, by the way.
Really?
No. There was heaving bosoms and thrusting
Yeah.
loins, but never
I've
any.
never read one, Clive. Missed that era.
So, yeah, so that was a terrific job.
Easy sell?
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of competition. The competition was theirs. So they had Mills and Boon, then a range of titles called Silhouette. Now, they were a bit more raunchy.
Yeah.
And then they used to bring out individual titles. Now, the Mills and Boon, the Silhouette, they were done on a standing order basis.
Mm-hmm.
So all you were doing was adjusting the standing orders. I think we're getting too many of those. Let's knock that down. Oh, they're not getting enough of those. They're selling out. But it was easy. And then you'd sell in the individual titles.
So you're selling to book
Mate, well, 75% of their business went through W.H. Smith,
Okay.
which led to the demise of our jobs. Because W.H. Smith and Mills and Boon got their heads together and said, "We do away with your sales force. Give us another couple of % on our discount, and we'll do the job for you."
Mm.
Yeah, that makes sense. So from a job that we all thought we were bulletproof in, we all got made redundant right from the top downwards.
Really?
Yeah, I think they kept one girl on as telesales or something.
Mm.
So then I'm kind of kicking my heels a little bit. And Tim Paisley again got in touch. They wanted somebody to sell advertising for Cartwheel magazine. I think Kevin Nash had been doing it for a while.
Mm.
And they wanted somebody in-house to do it. And they also wanted that particular person to sell, they wholesaled a few books, angling titles, Crowwood Press books and things like that to the shops. So I thought, we'll have a go at that. And Tim tried to look after me as best he could.
Why do you think Tim called you?
Well, he kind of sales background, carp angler-ish. Yeah, so it kind of was a good fit. And he tried to look after me as best he could financially, because I'd come from a well-paid job with a big fancy car. I even had one of those mobile phones that was there.
Car phone.
With a big
Yeah.
Kelly, like that. I'm on my mobile phone. Have you got one? Oh, no. Yeah, terrific. So that went pear-shaped, went to Carp World, and then hence I made all the contacts. So I'm speaking to Lockie, I'm speaking to Terry Eustace, et al., probably Bill at New Bates and people at Mainline and everything. That went a bit pear-shaped. Financially needed sorting out.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, and Steve Wilde, who was the, I don't know
So
what
the publisher?
yeah, he did all the,
For typesetting and
yeah,
stuff.
but it's not like this, is
No.
it? Not like
It's taping
copy and
stuff
paste,
to
it was
pages.
like
yeah.
creating stuff.
Yeah.
So he went, and he was on good money. So it had to be done. I don't bear a grudge about it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, okay, I'm mid-divorce. I'm living at my mum's. Don't need a real big income. I've got a car. And people had mentioned, like some of these people had said to me, "Clive, why don't you sell some of our gear to the shops in your spare time?" I said, "Well, it is actually a full-time job, but thanks for the offer." And so I took up those offers when Cartwheel.
Who were your first clients?
Wow. There was a company called Water's Edge, Christon, Terry Eustace Gold Label. These might not chronologically be correct.
Yes.
I've had a go at a few things. I did Mainline to start with, Mainline Baits to start with.
Yep.
But I was local to Newton Baits. It was doing really well, and it seemed kind of logical.
Because in a weird way, Clive, take us back to that period, because there was a north-south divide in terms of what people would read and what they would buy, wasn't there? Perhaps more so than there is now.
Newton Baits was incredibly popular in the north.
And Mainline kind of didn't really get
No,
quite
didn't have the same following. Possibly.
So it made more sense for you to be repping for Newton
yeah,
Baits,
and it was local. I could pop into the HQ once a week. I used to literally go sometimes and fill my car with orders. The springs are like.
Yeah. Saves them posting out, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you send post them out. I get it there quick, get it on the sale quick. So what else did I do? I've done a lot. but then it gradually narrowed down to, what do you call it, the big three.
Yep.
So I ended up with Solar,
Mm-hmm.
who was predominantly stainless and stuff like that. And the bait was kind of there wasn't a massive market for solar bait at the time. Korda, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, after meeting down at the Leicester Forestry Services.
Were you like the first northern rep for Korda?
I was the only one.
The only rep at all?
Yeah. Well, I was an agent.
Yeah.
That made perfect sense. Dan's in the infancy of his business. He's not going to provide me with a flashy car and a salary, is he? That's why people had agents. So,
no risk for them.
No risk for them. And if I sell a lot of stuff, I can earn a lot of money. And then Tracker, of course. So basically from day one with Dan, and definitely from day one with Tracker, definitely, because I was involved in the setup of it and changing the name of the company. It's a funny story behind that.
Go on.
Well, we decided. I went to see Carl, the gaffer.
Yeah.
They'd been making loads of luggage and stuff for Shimano and Browning and everybody in the UK. Match luggage.
So they were in the textiles game.
Yeah, they were.
Because Yorkshire was big for that, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were in Derbyshire Road in Sheffield.
Yeah.
And literally rows and rows of girls with sewing machines. Then the Chinese got involved, didn't they? Well, Shimano don't want you anymore, Carl, and Brownie don't want you anymore. Oh dear, we're going down the pan here. So he decided to have his own carp brand. And again, I don't know, because of the sales background, the carp fishing background, I got a phone call. Would you come in and meet Carl and have a chat about the new carp brand? Yeah, no problem. And he'd got all this stuff up against the wall, and it was just typical green, copy everybody else's, Me Too product, carp luggage with this big badge on it. It was called Worldwide Angling Products. I don't think you're onto a winner with that name, Carl, really. So, and I said, why are they going to buy it? Why are they going to buy this product? Is it going to be cheaper? There's no different features on it or anything. Okay, so it was kind of step back a bit and start again. So we came up with a name which I liked, which Bill Cottam had used and Richard Skidball, making some kind of bespoke clothing, winter clothing, really big, thick hoodies and things and thermal pants called Stalker.
Yes, remember those, yeah.
Right, there you go. And Bill said, yeah, you can have that name. We're not going to do it anymore. So, all right, I like the name. No like weirdo inferences. Sorry, Toby. Yes, good name. Short, snappy name, Stalker Products. Slight allegiance to carp fishing as well.
Yeah.
So I thought, that'll do. So it got to the point of even having all the letterheads and things made. Then Bill had to pull it. He said, Clive, you can't use that name. It was, I think it was used by Fox, wasn't it, on some of their range of products. Right. So that was kibosh. So, Stalker, la 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 la. Tracker. That'll do. It's a name, Johnny, a name. Once you're used to that name, would you call a band Half Man, Half Biscuit? But you just accept that's the name of the band, don't you?
Yeah.
And that the rest is history. I put them in contact with a lot of people for design. I went to people like Sean Harrison at Walkers to Trowel who had ideas. So I think we were the first to do the 3 up, 3 down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We went a bit over the top because we were putting on hooky mats on rucksacks and things and covers for everything. It was a bit over the top, but it was a selling point.
I mean, people still love that original Armo luggage, don't they? It's quite sought after, Clive. I think it's still around.
Yeah. We made a few mistakes, but I went around the whole country selling it, which was a laugh.
How does it feel being so close to the heartbeat of these businesses, Clive, but ultimately employed on like a freelance basis? Is that something you've ever had to consider?
Like
they must have approached you and said, "Come on, Clive, time to give this agency up. We'll employ you full time."
That does come into it eventually. I'm not going to say too much, but if you're a successful agent, you grow with the company. As the company grows, you're growing. Yeah, you're going to do good money.
Yeah,
I mean, I had to get my lad Chris involved because the carp scene was very small, but eventually it became big, and I couldn't cope with all the shops. So I brought Chris in. He helped out, so he makes a nice living. I make a nice living.
Yeah.
But eventually, had it been a different industry with like hard-nosed accountants and CEOs and that have no sort of compassion or feelings towards you as a person, I would have been gone years ago. Because somebody would have gone, well, just a minute, we can employ 3 reps for the price of him.
Yeah.
He's earning more than you.
But do you think that people like Dan and people like
With
Carl
loyalty.
felt that you'd been so
Yeah.
close to building that business?
Well, I'd like to think so.
Yeah. What was life on the road like, Clive? Because it's not for everyone, is it?
No, I'd done it for so long. It was, with KP Nuts days and Mills and Boone and everything else, that it's kind of, I'm just used to it. Some people said to me, I couldn't do all that driving. Well, you're not doing anything else while you're driving, are you? You would do a lot of driving, and you would earn your money in probably a very short space of time when you're actually
During
in the
that
shop.
day, you were there for 2 hours or something,
yeah.
as long as that, or
Well, in the shop,
yeah.
Depends how much tea and biscuits I had.
I'm interested, Clive. I was thinking about this when I was making your tea. You were quite specific about what you wanted, and I thought, is this coming up to scratch? Because this guy has probably had more tea than most. It's Yorkshire tea.
There were some shops you wouldn't have a cup of tea from.
Okay. And I think one thing I did want to talk about is that shops and that kind of banter. They go hand in hand, don't they? Please tell me, or tell the listeners, I think particularly one that I remembered being told about was where you had some issues with your car. You tell us about that one.
Yeah. I don't know when it would be. I had a thing about Saab cars, and I'd got one that was basically not a write-off, but it was a pile of crap.
Yeah.
And I bought it. It was almost like a bit of a barn find. And spent a lot of time, well, I didn't, but my pal mechanic did, getting it back up to scratch, getting it tidied up, get it running again. It was my pride and joy. And so I'm tooting along in this Saab. And so the boys at Northwest Angling Centre, I was on my visit there, decided they'd nick my car keys while I wasn't looking and moved it somewhere else. Another
And
car
replaced
park.
the car keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Stealthy, that.
finish my call, finish the business side of things. We go rushing back in, white as a sheet. My car's gone, my car's gone, my car. They're all in on it. Stan, call the police. Someone's nicked Clive's car. Oh, and it went on and on. And eventually they just all burst out laughing. There you go, it's over there. They used to do terrible things in there. They used to spray customers with monster crab.
Oh.
They put a live mouse in Ian Stanley. I think he's the Garbolino rep now. They put a live mouse in his briefcase. Put some squid powder in mine, Nash's squid. Put that in my briefcase.
So when you get to next,
So I got my own back a little bit.
yeah.
I've got a live peeler crab and put it in a box and took it in all taped up and said, there you go. It's going. But it was hilarious. I mean, most of my customers, because calling them that long, became friends. They'd come to social events and stuff. It's just nice. They're all different. They're all different characters. But I was never like the hard sell merchant. The hard sell is okay if you're visiting once. You sell somebody double glazing, you could be as hard nosed and use all the sales techniques you want and get the sale, and then you're out of there, aren't you? Never coming back. But I had to go back a fortnight later, a week later, a month later, and you stitch them up, and it's like life, isn't it? You can do a million things right, but they'll remember the one thing you do wrong. So I never did that.
And you actually were in that job during probably what was unprecedented expansion of angling, weren't you?
Oh yeah, went
Carp
bonkers.
fishing particularly.
Yeah, went bonkers. Paisley had a massive hand in that. Latterly, the likes of Tim, the Kevin Maddox book came out, Carp Fever, Hutchie, and it just it went crazy. They became catchable, didn't they, with the advent of the herring? More catchable, should I say?
I remember I said to you on the phone when we were setting this up, Clive. I remember going into a tackle shop in Liverpool. I'm not sure if it's still there, Johnson's of Rice Lane, and I remember bumping into you. Well, not bumping into you, was just seeing you at the counter at the top in the carp department, as it was.
Yeah.
And you were recognisable to me then because I was a Cartwell reader, and I think I'd probably seen you in the gossip.
Oh,
The gossip column at the back.
Not catching carp, just in the gossip.
No, and probably the odd time in like the Nutribaits news or that kind of thing.
Mm.
So by the 90s, you are a face in fishing as well as having a job.
But my attitude to go towards carp fishing changed when I worked for Mills and Boon, because that was a proper job, and along with the nice salary and the nice car came a lot more responsibility, and no time to go. Not as much time or anything like to go fishing. And it was the best thing that ever happened, seriously, because I was obsessed. I was obsessed as any carp nut there is out there. I was that person from like 75 to 80, whatever it was. I started work for Mills and Boon. I was that person. Couldn't sleep, couldn't think about anything except creating more
Would you have been in your 20s then? Like
yeah.
That sort of era.
Well, 75 I caught my first carp, so I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
20 to whenever it was, I can't remember when I joined Mills and Boon. But I literally couldn't, I was obsessed. Wanted to catch more, wanted to catch bigger. What can I use? Did all sorts of wacky things. But now I'm far more relaxed about it. It's just fun.
Let's loop back round. The period on the motorway pond, did you have your agency business at that point? Or were you still at Cartworld?
Oh, wow. No, I'd have started my agency I think. Yeah.
And how did that fit
Probably
with
why
your
I was
fishing?
fishing on Fridays.
Right. So were you a weekender at that point?
Well, actually, now I think about it, I was definitely in my agency days. I was. Again, religiously, I would go Thursday night and Sunday night. Just one night, overnighters to Tyler or Motorway, just one night. Thursdays and Sundays, that religiously.
And being a someone who's, let's call you a bait man, because of your influences and what we've already spoken about, were you trying to establish baits on those lakes at the time? Well, you said about the 3D, didn't you? So it must have been in your mind.
Again, going back to what I said earlier, for some bonkers reason, I always like to think I've got something that other people haven't had. And it can go for you, it can go against you.
And were these your decisions? Were you dreaming these things up, thinking, I want more beat, I want elevated levels of betail, I want elevated levels of GLM?
You're plugged into the scene, aren't you? You're plugged in, you're talking to people who know more about bait. Lee's been a big influence for me over the years, great pal. Fishing, he's great to fish with. So you know what's going on, and you think, right, I'll try that, I'll have some of that, I'll have some of that, I'll have some of that. I mean, I got away with murder because I didn't always use Nutribaits flavours. I'd use their base mixes. But one of my favourites was, you'll remember these, DT Baits Green Beast.
Yeah, still
one of my favourites.
Still a great
with
flavour
the fish
today,
meal.
isn't it? Yeah.
Not in winter, in the fish meal.
Okay.
And I used to put I think it was 3 mils of that and 2 mils of Lockie's squid and octopus.
Oh, so you're really mixing things up.
Yeah.
Because that's the Green Beast is a fruity.
Yeah, blackcurrant.
Yeah.
You won't remember blackcurrant spangles.
No.
You're too young.
Well, thankfully, yeah.
No, they were lovely.
Were they?
Yeah, like hard-boiled sweet in the tube. Blackcurrant spangles. They're different coloured fruits.
Yeah.
And one of them was blackcurrant, and I'd swear to God that's what the flavour they used.
Well, it probably was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then...
so do you think that kind of mixing those up, those different
layers...
it
gave me something that nobody else had.
Yeah. Which again, just to come back, apologies if I'm labouring this slightly.
No.
To say that means that you believe that they can tell that it's different.
Oh, they must be able to. Yeah, without a shadow.
It's not a round ball of fish that they they're just accustomed to finding. It's Clive's bait.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's different. You see it all the time, don't you? Somebody else comes on the lake, joins a syndicate, whatever. Wow, he's doing well. Yeah, he's doing his own thing. He's doing a different bait, whatever. All
right. Well, I mean, that point taken. How do you sort of square the idea that we now all effectively use the same stuff because almost no one makes their own bait now? Are we making it hard for ourselves?
There's a lot of choice, and it surprises me. I tell you, okay, we're on this subject. It amazes me. This is one thing: how many people won't spend decent money on what I class as good bait. They'll spend 600-700 quid on a bivvy, 300-400 quid on the rods, the reels, 500-600 quid. I'm not paying more than £5 a kilo for my bait. Well, just a minute. That's the only thing that's important. All that is superfluous. Nice to have. I like all that kind of carpy gear.
Mm-hmm.
But the bait's the most important. It's the only thing you've got that the carp want.
You know, with respect, Clive, is it because of the era that you're from that you put so much emphasis on bait, or do you think it's just?
Yeah, probably.
It must be, mustn't it?
Probably.
You know, the people who went through the whole process of discovery and rolling their own stuff have more understanding and therefore have a little bit more.
I don't pretend that I understand everything, but I've tried different things, and if you boil it down to one thing, I always think, right, and I'm not saying let's pick any bait if you want. Let's say it's Essential B5 because I'm not allowed to. So you go to the lake and the carp are being hammered to death on their Essential B5. Probably those big fish would probably be less willing, they're more reluctant to get caught on that. It happens, doesn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, you might get lucky. You give them something else that they really like, and you quid's in.
Do you know? I was listening to a podcast with John Baker.
I used to use John Baker's plum.
I'm going to shout it out, the Carp Chronicles podcast, and he talked about flavours. And John, I think, was among the first to point out. In fact, I think he was the first to discover some research which suggests that as carp age, the number of taste receptors in their mouth or olfactory receptors increases over. So unlike us, our senses deplete. The older, bigger fish have more ability to detect things and to perhaps control what they're eating than smaller ones, which
not something I'd heard, but
it's an Italian study apparently,
right?
So fascinating, and you know, perhaps we don't look deeply enough into the fact that one carp is different from another.
I think you've got all the different things in your armory, and I've fished with a lot of quite a few of the famous anglers. Dan, Damien, Darryl. I've been next to Darryl. Say Ian Macmillan when he was alive, sadly now passed away. And again, I try to pick up on, I think, oh, I see that's his strength. That's his strength. Now, I don't think any of those were absolutely mad bait people, but they're good at everything else.
Different era, Clive. Again, they're happy to use a rolled bait.
Yeah. And I do now. I use some rolled baits. My freezer's full of all sorts, but you know, to me, that gives. I'm looking for my head. I'm going to use. I like to use a lot of analogies, right? So I've said this before, that watching these people, watching Dan cast and stuff like that, and Darryl, you know, I'm just can't do it. I can't hit the clip at 150 yards or anything. So that's what makes them successful. When I'm successful, I've obviously got it right on that occasion. I've got it right, you know, often enough to keep me happy. They get it right more often.
They do, but you know, we're going to come on to this. Your record with big fish, target big fish in Europe is incredible.
Yeah, you're going to ask me for some kind of miracle answer, which I probably can't. Well, I could.
Well, we're going to talk a bit we're going to talk a bit later how you plan for those campaigns. You know, because you're getting a short bite at the cherry.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
and you need to know everything about that lake and the swims and probably the bait that you want to take and the bait those fish like, etc. But you know, let's finish up on the how did you bring the motorway campaign to its conclusion?
Just like, right, we've been here a lot. We've done this.
Was the big one? Well, it can't have been the end of it because you caught it twice.
Yeah, no. I just enjoyed fishing there. I loved it. Then we got wind of this place called Winterset. Well, Tyler and I actually, do you know, I can't even remember which way around I did it, but we ended up at Winterset. Done Tyler in motor, I can't remember which order. And we had this place near Wakefield, Aqua, called Winterset Reservoir. Now I've gone from 1 acre, 2 acre, 18, 20 acre lakes, 27, I think Tyler it was originally. Now we're looking at 90 acres with not many carp in. So,
what were you thinking? Were you thinking there's big? But was it a mystery thing? Did you feel like there might be bigger carp in there than
It was similar kind of sizes. 20-pounder was massive, Richie, massive. You got 25 pounder.
But
Wow.
you've caught a 36 pounder,
I had.
which is a
But
big.
what am I going to do? I'm going to
No, of
start
course.
travelling down south, or it was. But I had some of the best times of my life there at Winterset. Not only from the fishing, but the fun we had there.
Really?
Oh,
Go on,
yeah,
tell us some stories. I'm gonna get the album
the
out here.
Winterset Reservoir. There's some missing
Yeah.
but that kind of gives you an idea that I was keen because
Stock level uncertain,
Not
not
many.
too heavy. 100 fish, you thought?
Yeah, 90 acres.
Here's
Yeah,
a
that's
picture.
Winterset.
Look at the fish, though. I mean, what would be the heritage of these fish?
I have no idea.
High-shouldered,
I have no
round-tailed, sparsely scaled mirror.
No idea where they came from.
I mean, they all look kind of like that same. You've got some big commons, though, Clive, haven't you? By Yorkshire standards.
One called Pugsley at £23. But again, you've got to be careful. I could talk all day about Winterset on its own. They named a swim after me eventually. It did really well. I did really well. Now this blows my mind to the day. 103 yards out in a dinghy.
Yeah.
3 bottles as marker floats. 103 yards. There were some bushes and stuff on the far bank, which were a long way away. And they were my markers. I mean, 90 acres, and the consistent amount of action I had from that at all times of year was just ridiculous.
Why did you choose there in the first place, that particular spot?
To get away from the bream anglers on the other bank.
Right, and the bait brought the carp to you?
Yeah, but
over
we're
the
hardly
period?
using any.
Right.
By today's standards, I think we baited at one pre-season with 10 kilo bucket hemp. That was it. But it was ridiculous, honestly.
Such a great shot, that Toby. Toby's just put up. Look at that thumping sort of
It's a big
thick
lake,
set mirror.
big
that,
old
isn't it?
lake.
Yeah.
And had to wade out to land them and stuff. The thigh waders look, not chest waders.
Carpies you like. I like the maroon Carp Society jumper as well. It's edgy, that. Evaporated milk and ice cream boilies over hemp. This is
Yeah, there you go.
yeah in the album here.
Yeah, but it was hardly using any, I'd say, by today's standards. I had 21 runs in a week, opening week there, which was just nonsense.
So you've gone to a 90-acre lake and actually found it quite easy.
I wouldn't have done if I hadn't fished. Yeah, well, that spot just produced and produced and produced. Crazy.
And is the swim called Clive's?
It's
or?
called Clive's now, yeah.
Yeah. And the
I had
fish.
some dodgy experiences there. I mean,
Go on.
back in the day, I didn't care about going in boats. I'm useless in boats now. I don't want to know. I get like a bit, so I don't feel good in a boat.
No.
Well, I went out there. It was a dinghy that you wouldn't let your kids go in. 103 yards out with my waders on, and I'm the only person on the lake. That was pretty stupid. Makes
Lovely
me shiver
comment.
to think about it.
Another lovely comment there. And I mean, look at these mirrors. Are great. I mean, are these still fish? Do any of these survive?
Some of the originals are still in there, but they've restocked it.
This one-time late record here, a lovely deep mirror with a huge moon scale
How
on its
big size
side.
does it say?
2411 at
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
Is that floppy tail or something? Or
No, you had the crinkle-tailed mirror somewhere else, but yeah, lovely fish, and
Just
actually
such
you've
fun.
made short work of this, Clive. Really, haven't you? This
It was
supposed
great.
challenge.
Yeah, there's 3 of us basically used to fish it in a line. The guy used to come round and collect money from us on a little scooter, John,
Yeah.
from the village. He was the fishery bailiff, if you like, and he'd come round and have this, we called it cell rig. I think that was the brandus of this boat. It was a pathetic little dinghy, but quite solid material. Didn't feel too bad in it. Absolutely blathered in hemp. I mean, blathered. He said, boys, you can't use hemp on here. Don't let anybody see it.
Yeah, bless
Here's
him.
your fiver, John.
Yeah.
That would change from one session to another. It was obviously back pocket. And just like, fine. He even reserved our swims on opening.
Really?
Yeah, rope across it.
So were you seeing other anglers then, despite the fact it's
I
big?
saw a
It's
few.
probably out of most people's league, Clive.
Some of the local, was it a dentist or something? Was it an optician? Kid called Porter used to fish it. Yeah, and other people started to turn up. But seriously, people would fish that swim after me, before whatever. And if they weren't at 103 yards, so they were guessing it. They'd be 10 yards short, 10 yards, but wouldn't get a bite. We never knew why. We did plumbed it
Yeah.
and everything.
Are you casting?
We were rowing
or
out.
rowing out.
Dropping them.
Was it in your armoury? Would you have been able to cast 103 yards then with the kit?
Probably can't now. No, I could now. No, I wouldn't be doing it. No.
There's
what are they? Mitchell 410s are they, or something like that?
I mean, there's a sort of a yellowy looking rod, glass fibre rod here.
But actually,
so,
it probably could have done because probably waded it out 20 yards and then wanged it out.
I'm just flicking through some of the Tylery stuff, Clive, because we shouldn't miss out what is a very, very important lake for Yorkshire. I see there's a picture of you, a brace shot here with Kevin Clifford.
Yeah.
How big of an influence was Kevin?
He's a really good friend. I like
a man who's been and done it.
Yeah, I like Kevin.
Presumably already by this stage he's been to Redmire and caught
Secret Kev.
Yeah.
Influence. No, we were fishing there before he did. He'd done with carp fishing, but because we kind of were friends, he said, "Well, I might come down and have a go with you, Clive, sometime," and he did. And then the kind of, when you see a side of somebody come out, and it wasn't particularly bad, you think, that's why you were successful.
Right.
He was baiting up, like, without us knowing, wouldn't tell us what he was using, that kind of thing. Yeah. Funny. I mean, got a few.
Yeah. But like I say, at that stage, he'd been like King Kev, like catching
the
20s out of
the North's carp king.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Filling Redmire in with sweet corn.
And some of the pictures, incredible.
Yeah, you're good at photography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you found him to be...
Oh, great bloke.
Yeah.
He's one of those blokes that can kind of do anything. He could probably mend the car engine.
Yeah.
Build a wall, fix the electrics, and then go and catch carp and run a magazine. Yeah, clever bloke.
Now, obviously, you mentioned Kev, and I've mentioned Redmire as well. There is an album here which is entitled Redmire Pool, Horseshoe and Harefield.
Yeah.
And this is in the early 90s,
Is it?
Clive. So you've been around the block. You've obviously done a tour of Britain at some stage.
Yeah.
But I'm fascinated by Redmire, and I feel like it would be remiss of me not to at least ask you about your trip.
Of my era in particular would like to fish Redmire. I can still remember this. Was it the 15th of September 1952 or 12th when Walker caught Clarissa?
Yeah. Well,
that was a big deal.
I think it's probably the birthplace, the moment that modern carp fishing as we know it was born for me.
Yeah, so I knew all that, the fish going under the bramble tree and then putting his hand down to pull it. So I got the opportunity. Tim Paisley was, I think it was a competition or something, and fish at Redmire. 3 winners can go to Redmire with Tim. Turned out Tim couldn't really be bothered. I said, "Clive, do you want to go to Redmire?" "Oh yeah, please." But I think I must have probably had a gig with a band or something the previous night. I couldn't make it the night that the 3 winners turned up. So I was terrific. I was excited driving into the car park at Redmire.
Oh, why wouldn't you be? It's the place.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So they're all out there. They're fishing. And I walked through the gate. Did you know the layout at all?
Yeah, I've been a couple of times.
Right, so there's the little hut on the left.
Back of the dam,
signing what you've caught and everything. Yeah, then there's the dam, the famous dam. So I walked through the gate, and there's a huge pair of Y fronts hanging over the, with a big skid mark down the middle. Somebody obviously
it's ruined your moment, Clive.
It kind of brought me back down to earth.
Yes,
the reality of life.
But it's not how you dreamt it, though. Presumably.
No. Funny trip. I caught one. I went again a second time and I caught one again. That's when my leg was in plaster. I'd had a car crash. Second time I went.
You've got your picture here of it.
Was it a £8 common or something?
Yeah, with the dam in the back, and it says.
You have to do that.
It says sweet corn ? Maggot ? Balance crust? Nah, fish meal boilies. How did you do it, Clive? It looks like you're in Pitchfords, right?
No, it's in Stumps.
Looking across to my swim Pitchfords.
Stumps, I think. Stumps.
Don't know.
I did a little bit of research because it kind of went like that, didn't it? It was shallow, then there was a little bit of a
Pitchford's
a
pit.
gully.
Yeah, down the middle.
In front of me, and I just kind of plopped it in there.
Yeah, simple as that. You're in Pitchfords, definitely. You say, looking across the marsh.
I've actually written it.
Pitchfords, 91 style setup in Pitchfords, and then the second trip the supergroup trip. I'm going to ask you about that in a second.
All right.
In Pitchfords again, so I'm pretty sure you're in Pitchfords, mate. Pitchfords
Put
Pit,
me
which
straight
is
whenever you can.
Yeah, Pitchfords Pit, which is the reputedly deepest part of the lake.
I know the second trip.
What's the supergroup?
Right, okay. Carp Society supergroup.
With the actual
Lee
band.
Jackson.
Yeah. Was Jan involved in that? Was it-
Jan kind of got involved. Man, it's so sad because 3 of these people are dead now. Andy Boulder.
Chris Haswell.
Chris Haswell.
Yeah.
Andy Boulder, my mate from up north. Died when he was 55. Great guitar player. Good friend. Chris Haswell. Terry Cheeseman. Couldn't believe that. That was COVID. Like, wow. You know, you see stuff. It's horrible. You see stuff from people on Facebook and then suddenly, my God, he's dead. It was horrific.
Yeah, that's the really poignant thing now with in the social media area. I find myself, if someone dies, you go back to their Facebook and look at, evidence that they were
And I
there.
tell you what else is bad. When you're going through your phone contacts, you think, oh, God, I haven't removed his phone.
I thank God I haven't got. I'm
horrible.
not at that stage yet.
It's
God.
horrible. But yeah, so we used to do those little gigs.
So who went for you on this trip, the 94 trip?
I think there was definitely Lee, Andy Boulder, and Terry Cheeseman, I think.
Yeah, and you've caught lovely common here.
Yeah.
Big Fish Mix minis.
12 mils.
Then
10
about
mils.
gold hook bait.
Oh, there you go. Mixing it up there.
Yeah, for a red mar carp.
Yeah, check that out.
It looks like a really weedy year, that one. Red hot as well.
Well, I had a bite, and my leg was in plaster. Can you see my leg?
You can in one of the shots, yeah.
I had a
This
car
one.
crash, broke my ankle. Looking cool there.
Yeah.
And I had a bite the previous morning to catching that 16. I don't think they believe. Make it up, am I? I hooked one, it fell off.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. So I thought, oh, thank God I caught that one the following day.
What do you do in the band?
I drummed.
Right. And Chris,
Still play to this day.
do you? Rock. This is a rock.
Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an AC/DC tribute band thing again now.
But the supergroup. What did?
Oh, we just did anything.
Right.
Anything that was easy.
Yeah.
Rock and roll stuff. And
Chris was the singer. Is that right?
Chris Haswell was the singer, yeah.
What kind of a voice did he have? What was
A
it?
bit Rod Stewart-y.
Was it? Yeah.
Mm.
He sort of looked. He had that vibe.
Oh,
that kind
yeah. Terry was really classically trained, good guitar player. Understood music. I can't read music. I just play along. But mate Andy was Lee. Bless his heart. Just said, "Well, I'll play bass then." You play bass, do you, Lee? No, not really, but I'll give it a go. And of course, he learned what he had to play.
Python Lee Jackson.
Yeah. And mate Andy was a terrific guitarist, but he's self-taught rock and blues.
And you played at the Carp Society conference.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
We did a trip to.
I just can't imagine. You can't imagine that kind of thing happening now, can you?
No, we took the Carp Society supergroup to Cassian. There was some do going on at
Yeah.
Cassian. They paid for us to go out there.
Really?
All the kit.
Well, you were
drums.
big news. Look at these
Oh,
anglers.
yeah, check you out.
Yeah.
So we took all the kit across, and it was in Pierre's cafe.
Yeah.
Pierre's.
Yeah.
They set it all up in there, and we did a 45-minute spot in there, made a load of racket. But we were more typically interested in what's going on at the lake.
Looking for showing carp.
So
out the
we'd
window.
done all that.
Yeah.
We cobbled together some gear because there was kit on. Tony Fordham was there with his Sportex rods.
Yeah.
So we grabbed some of these. I think somebody actually put 2 or 3 reels in their kit bag, and we walked down from Pierre's, and somebody had bivvied up right at the bottom. So we turned left, no idea where we were going, and found this like semicircle of bushes. Thought, that's ideal. Bed chairs. We literally cast a rod out each. I think we had a catapult and about half a kilo of baits. The catapult broke. So one rod each, just plopped it out. The rods were propped up against the bushes, no alarms or anything. Oh my God, one went off in the morning.
No. One of yours?
Terry.
Oh, Terry. Yeah.
Terry, yeah. 24 pounder or something.
So you've been
he didn't know he was in 20 foot, 60 foot, 10 foot. Just literally plop.
You've been paid to go there, Clive. Done your gig and caught one.
Yeah.
Successful
I haven't
trip.
caught one.
No,
I
but
know.
between
I'd
you
like
you
to
have.
catch a Cassian carp.
Really?
Again, it's my era, isn't it?
Absolutely. Flicking further on through the this particular
Oh, yeah. Epic
album.
volume.
Yes. There's some fantastic fish, one of which here you have christened your best looking fish so far, which is a remarkable looking horseshoe mirror, the type of which became really famous, didn't it, in years to come. It's this
Oh,
one.
that's the one.
That's in fact, I think you've got your stalker jacket on there as it goes.
Stalker jacket. And
Yeah.
that is the photo on the cover of Long Range Carp.
Oh, really? And was this actually caught at long range, Clive?
Yeah.
But
Well, we were with Phil Hyde and Tim Paisley. You mean you've never seen it?
it's on YouTube,
Slap
isn't it? Is that
your
the one?
wrist.
Is that the Tim cast? Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, he in fairness, that guy had us casting a long way very quickly.
Really?
Seriously.
Was he a sea angler or something?
Yeah, Phil Hyde, and he got the off the ground cast.
Yeah.
Was safer than the pendulum cast, by the way. Yeah, he casting a really long way. But you know, if you don't go back and practice it and keep doing it, you forget it.
So why were you? Was this is literally just to make this film?
Just to make the
so
film.
Tim had roped you in again. Tim had decided that this
was it Clean River?
Clean River fishing videos. Yeah.
Correct.
He's put all of his stuff on YouTube now. So that
He's a funny
if you want a
guy.
bit,
He's a
Liam
really
Dale.
funny, really funny guy. He made some kind of massive series about World War II. It's quite
Really?
good. It's been on. You can get it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Funny guy. Yeah. We went to see him and he was supposed to be going bankrupt or something. Is this libelous? No, I don't think so. But he was still in this massive mansion thing
Yeah.
in Bedfordshire. I was like, oh, God, Gloucestershire, fair play.
And you made this film.
He made that film, which was a laugh. And
Yeah.
I caught that one.
I mean, it's a mega looking fish.
Yeah,
It's a
mega
beautiful
looking
linear.
fish, yeah.
Yeah.
Have I got that film? Is that the right one there?
That's
yeah.
him.
Clive Gibbins, Tim Paisley, long range carp fishing.
That's not me.
No, that's Phil, presumably.
Yeah. It's quite good. It showed, there's things from that you pick up on.
I just didn't see Tim as a long range angler, but here he is being taught.
Yeah.
Go on, Tim.
Well done, Toby.
Oh, he's good. This is what he does.
You're good at this, Toby. You could get a job here.
I mean, Tim looks the same today, Clive, doesn't he? It has to be said.
Yeah, his hair's
He's a
bit longer.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you find being on camera?
I don't know. You'd have to tell me.
How did you feel about it?
I didn't mind.
No?
It's not easy, is it?
Because I don't see Tim as an extrovert kind of guy either. You know,
No,
I mean, you more so. You're more
I
used
wouldn't say
to.
I'm extrovert,
No.
but it's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to be yourself in front of a camera
Yeah.
or a microphone.
By the way, it looks absolutely horrible. The
Yeah.
weather
Yeah, well, I think it was
Early
quite
spring or
nice the
something?
following day.
was it.
But it was good fun. And
I mean, I bet it's-
he did have us casting a long, long way. And by the
No,
way,
no
you're
feeling the
talking
lead
about-
going down there, is there though, Clive?
Don't get me started. They're like Shimano bait runners,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like £8 or £10 line. It was, I think, £12.
Yeah.
Now, but again, some things you never ever forget. And he's saying your shock leader material must be 4 times your lead. So if you've got
Yeah.
no, that's not right. 10 times lead. So if you've got a 4-ounce lead on, you must use a minimum of £40.
Yeah.
He's right, but nobody does that, do they?
I guess not.
No, for fear of knocking people out and killing them on the other bank and stuff.
So this was during a period when you obviously were willing to travel, because it goes on to
Well,
you
that
go
was,
on to
that
sort
was
of
part of.
you record trips at Harefield, for
Yeah,
instance.
do you know that trip to Harefield?
Was this on the back of learning how to cast long range, Clive? You thought I'm
I
going to
didn't
go
have
to
to cast long range. That's
but it was famous for it at the time, wasn't it?
yeah. That particular trip, I can see the sunny,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That was the weekend of Live Aid.
Right.
Mm.
And
You could see all the
Did you do the
blimps going up in, because you're not far from London,
yeah,
with the cameras and everything, shooting Live Aid.
Did
I
you-
caught one eventually.
yeah, little comment, small
Yeah.
comment from the pads. Did you have the full Colne Valley experience? Did you go the horse and barge and
No,
that kind of thing?
no. No, I got the full Colne Valley experience when I hooked a fish in there.
Cut you straight off.
No, not straight off.
Right.
No, because they used to put step ladders and things in place, didn't they?
Right.
So you get your bite, you don't put any pressure on it whatsoever. Try and get up the step ladders to keep your line as far out the water as you can. And this thing's going, running. I thought, at some point, I'm going to have to put some pressure on this fish. Eventually, and so I just went, click, cut me off.
As easy as that.
Ah, yeah, it's like flints and things and everything, weren't they?
So I don't blame you then for fishing closer in, presumably for the one you actually landed.
I was probably about 40, 50 yards out. Oh, that one was
Yeah.
close in.
Yeah.
That one was close in, yeah. Between 2 weed beds, as I remember.
And did it feel like a comfortable experience fishing down south? Were these the first forays down there?
Yeah, I did fish I went to Raisbury. Yeah, that was funny.
Ambitious as well.
You don't
But
think
then you've
about
caught.
that, do you? You
I
don't
mean,
think-
like Winterset was nearly.
yeah, 90 acres.
Yeah.
Caught some there.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah, quite right. Wow.
I didn't catch that. I think I only went once. Fished the Douglas Road end
Yeah.
and didn't have a bite. And then I'm sat there on probably the Saturday morning, daylight, and I can see this massive patch of bubbles coming. I mean, massive. Like, oh my Lord, about 30 yards out, and they get closer and closer and closer. I mean, it's just like bubble patch this big.
Yeah.
What the? And a bloke with a frogman outfit just stood up and walked out. Morning, lads. What?
I mean, what do you even do at that point?
Laugh.
Yeah. Were you fishing close? Was he approaching the rigs?
No. I think from memory, am I right in saying that from where we were fishing, there's one of the islands in front of you, like almost like a channel. Is it two?
Oh, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've stood
exactly.
in Douglas Lane.
I didn't go back.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I asked you, were you influenced by the the lads who'd gone before from your neck of the woods, like
Skiddy and
Dave
Moore,
John Hallett?
Yeah, they'd been down and caught some nice ones.
Yeah.
So you think, well, we'll have a go. It's a long way to go, really. But you've got to be really mega.
It's not
keen.
something that you carried on doing either, Clive, is it? You know,
You'd have to dedicate yourself to that, wouldn't you?
yeah.
You'd have to do that. I'm going to catch one out of here thing and not go anywhere else and just keep travelling and travelling. But I didn't.
No. By this stage, you are very much like in the Nutribaits camp. It
Yep.
must be fair to say.
Yeah.
Did that open any doors for you, you know, locally or anything like that? Did that influence the sort of fishing that you did?
I wouldn't say so. No, I mean, knowing Tim, so I fished the mangrove, you know, in Shropshire.
Yep.
Got on that syndicate.
Which is dead man's shoes at that stage, isn't it?
Yeah. So I got in there. I think I maybe stayed in for 2 seasons. Birch Grove was one of Tim took
Again,
control
hugely
of that.
famous lakes at the time.
We
Yeah.
had a mega session on there one time. But,
It's-
so I
you
would
s-
travel. I
yeah.
would travel.
I mean, how far is Shropshire for you from?
Oh God, in miles.
Yeah.
It's the end of the earth, isn't it?
Mm.
I couldn't believe how far it was. It was 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
To go from the northeast to what people called, probably wrongly, the northwest.
Yeah, it was a long trip.
Yeah.
The worst one I ever did was I joined Acton Burnell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what a fishery, what a place. I think it was £1,000.
Yeah.
I went
Still
twice
dear today,
I think
isn't it?
Twice one year, and I don't know when I went at all the following year. Paid £1,000.
You
Silly.
say you say in your album, I think you made a note that you dropped the mangrove too soon. You didn't fish it enough.
No, I probably didn't. But that might have had something to do with the travelling involved. And I remember going on the last. They used to have shooting on there, didn't they?
Yeah.
You shut it
Short
quite
on the
early.
season, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
September sometime
Mm-hmm.
for the shooting. And I remember being there on the last night. I think some of the lads, Brian Garner, John Lee, they were already there. And who was it, Joe somebody? Right, I could have. There was a famous room. What was it called?
Be a test for you.
Stonies.
Yes. On the
Stonies.
far side. Yeah.
Came out of the reeds on platforms.
Mm-hmm.
That was available. I didn't go in there, so I went for more of a social reason. I went with Brian and John, and this Joe went in Stonies, and he had the 2 biggest fish in the lake out on the same night, both 30s, which was like mega. Not saying I'd have caught them, but
No,
I could have gone this.
You'd have had a better chance, though, perhaps.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? You say in your notes in the sleeve of this, you say joined Syndicate for 2 seasons, fished it for a total of 14 nights.
Oh, there you go.
Well stocked, lovely place, well stocked.
Yeah, mangrove.
Yeah.
Yeah, decent head of fish in it. Loads of eels.
So how did you get round those with
There's a
the
good
bait
one.
side of things?
Well, I'd be using big fish. of
Which
some
they'd
distance.
have loved, presumably.
Right, well, Brian Garner and Bill really give them some bait. Really did. And they netted it to get the eels out. I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but some of the eels were like turning red. That's not a lie. There's that much big fish with robin red in it, and it's
because obviously Bill was, Nutrimax was up and running. I think Brian worked for Bill as well.
He was like sales.
Yeah, so they could put in more than most.
Oh yeah.
Did you go in on the same bait?
No.
So you went against the dominant bait.
Yeah.
Talk me through your thinking there, Clive.
Well, the usual thing. I think I don't want to catch what other people have already caught. I want to try. It might be wrong. It's just my way of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely paid off sometimes.
Yeah.
Other times I might have, made the wrong decision. Shouldn't have tried to buck the trend.
What did you go in on at Mangrove? Can you remember?
I caught my first mangrove carp on. It was the bait I was on a Birch Grove.
Yep.
And I joined the Mangrove Syndicate. I thought, right, I'm going to do one night. I'll move on my stuff, go on mangrove for one night. And that was the evaporated milk and, like high fat bait.
Right.
I caught on that.
Yeah.
That was the first one. So I can't really remember. I don't keep diaries or anything.
No, I mean, what Tim might consider an attractor bait, presumably that high flavour.
Yeah, but it's a good bait if they eat it, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. You've got to get their attention.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts regarding the silt side of things when you fished the Mears?
Not particularly.
You didn't change your approach at all?
No. I was probably using rigs about 10 inches long from.
So long, I
didn't go to helicopters or anything like that, or the equivalent of
the silt rig or whatever.
I didn't. Yeah. No, but I was probably using fairly light leads. But I'm going to throw another one at you now. So you mentioned that. So we're going to France, but we're not.
Yeah.
So I'm at Saursay.
Yeah.
And I fished in peg 3 on these particular occasions. John Richards, one of the secret agents, he's in peg 1. Peg 1 for a while was the swim to get in on Saursay. It was like a bush line, and it was far more productive than the other end of the lake. So I'm thinking, well, I'm middled for diddle with the carper.
Making the best of it.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, it's silty. Plugging in with 3 ounce leads quite a lot. Okay, so I'm fishing rigs about that long, a foot long, something like that, on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Caught some.
Yeah.
Well, John's up the other end, catching quite a lot. Rigs that long.
So sort of like 5 inches. Yeah.
You think if they want it, they'll probably.
Is that how you envisaged them feeding after that? After that point, they're buried in. They're up to their gill plates in silt.
Well, they must have been. They
Right.
must have been.
Yeah.
You get bogged down with all that, can't you?
Mm. Well, I mean, it's still a
I'm not
difficult
saying
thing to imagine, isn't it?
Yeah.
What they actually do around the.
I don't know.
No, I mean clearly at the Saursay experience is a long time after the mangrove. So perhaps at the time, you had no evidence that they would dig down in.
No, I mean I caught on mangrove without adjusting anything.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because actually, your Yorkshire fishing, they're all gravel pits, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, clay pits or gravel pits, pretty much. I hadn't encountered much silt up to
which is kind of the opposite way to most lads in the northwest who grew by their nature. You end up fishing silt, don't you? And then don't come to your gravel pits till you leave.
Well, there's a bad story about silt because I was on the mangrove and I turned up. I was the only one there, so I thought, we'll go in Stonies. Now, as I say, as a platform comes out to the end of the reeds. Your rods are on the end of there, extension box back in your bivvy. But there weren't many features on mangrove, but there was a bit of a snag tree down to the left. Mm-hmm. But you couldn't cast to it from Stonies. I thought, I bet I can cast to it if I just take a couple of steps.
Oh, no.
Yeah, into that lot.
An ancient mere,
I put one leg down and it just went.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I had to crap myself. It's like, get your out and don't do that again.
I didn't know until we went and filmed there this year for SIP that actually there is no kind of bed, if you like, that the platforms are all built on floating effectively. They can't get a scaffold pole down to the bottom of the mere. It's that deep in silt. You'd have gone and just never come back. They're basically built on pads that
They
sort
wouldn't
of
have
rest
found
on
a
the
hat
side.
either, would they? They don't wear one.
But people talk about it as a very atmospheric place. Clive, did you find it to be that on there?
Yeah, I did like it. It's very dark and quiet, and a bit like Redmire is phenomenally dark on the night time. There's like no street lights or anything.
Are you an angler that buys into the whole atmosphere side of things, or are you quite pragmatic as a Yorkshireman?
Yeah, fairly pragmatic. It is what it is. You're fishing these different venues. I've fished places where there's great big gravel workings, like 100 yards.
Well, I mean,
behind me,
Tyler couldn't be worse.
Oh
could it,
yeah,
in
exactly.
that sense?
Tyler, big dumper trucks pouring tiles in.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but we all want that idyllic scenario, don't we?
But Tiles is as far from that as it could ever be, isn't it? But did you still enjoy the atmosphere there?
I much preferred fishing at motorway.
Right.
Some people fall in love with Tyler. Oh, best lake ever. Well, I thought, bit of a hole in the ground, really. Lovely carp.
Mega carp.
Lovely carp, and just really, there's all these trucks flying about, and I preferred motorway.
You know the bars and stuff in Tyler, were they tiles or is it actually a gravel pit?
Well, it was clay, wasn't it?
Was it clay pit?
Clay pit, yeah.
Right.
There was one main bar, which was about 80, 90 yards from the east bank. And that, we call it the road. You're fishing on the road.
Everyone did, presumably.
Yeah, tried it, yeah.
Yeah.
I could reach it. But yeah, it was clay because they were making the tiles from the clay.
But also dumping tiles in the lake as well.
Yeah, all the offcuts, or what you like to call them.
Yeah.
Rejects. Just piled them in on this one. So the lake got smaller and smaller.
Right.
Yeah. It started off at 27 acres, about 22 or something by the time they'd finished.
What did you find the particular challenges of that lake, Clive, in terms of catching?
Right, to start with, the stocks of fish that went in motorway entirely came from the Brands Burton pits, because they were being redug, closed down, whatever. So they came from Stamps Extension, Thompson's. Did they come? Yeah, from Thompson's, and any others that had carp in. So they were Brands Burton fish that were split up between the two lakes. Not only did the carp flourish, they really flourished. No 20-pounders went in Tyler, none. First fish I caught in Tyler was 20 odd pounds. So just, not a lot. I think a picture of it. To start with, they were easy. Honestly, it was as if they would come to the bait.
Really?
Honestly, I'm going to fish that swim. Okay, and you just use marker float.
Yeah.
And then you had the Barnett Diablo catapult. Slingshot, really.
Yeah.
She's firing one boilie out at a time.
With a bit of leather, like a leather strap.
With a leather
sort of thing.
pouch. And it was as if they were coming to the bait, honestly.
It was hard work, Clive, fishing any kind of range.
But you weren't putting much in. You thought, 20, that'll do.
Okay.
What would what could have
So what you might consider almost like getting on for one bite tactics these days, isn't it?
But they were finding it.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. Then it changed, and you had to be a bit more savvy about your spots and stuff.
What kind of spots were you?
Weed mainly before or after the weed bed. There's I remember one year there was a big channel of weed, and I was catching them beyond that. And then it was good. It was a good lake, 30-pounders.
But you never had the big one.
Never had the big one.
So you didn't
quite
keep that.
Day.
You didn't quite keep that proud record rolling of having caught the big one at the motorway, and then.
Such is life.
It was it real deep-bodied fish, that one, the big one, the tiles big one?
Yeah, it wasn't like Italian deep.
No.
But it was a fairly deep fish. I saw it in the bank a couple of times. My mates caught it.
Yeah. I mean, we cannot leave the Yorkshire thing without addressing your Yorkshire record, Jumbo.
Oh, yeah.
Was that a Brands Burton fish as well?
Right, yes. Oh, okay, yeah. Good question. Right, you know this full story?
Full story.
Right, okay. Kevin Clifford, as president or whatever he was of Hull and District Anglers Association, used to do lots of stuff for nothing. Helping out, creating things, making things.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be
providing
quite
materials.
the club it is now without him.
No, absolutely not. So he I think at some point he said to them, the committee,
Yeah.
"Oh, don't worry, I'll have a couple of fish off you sometime." It's off the cuff remark.
Because he has his own lake.
Well, whatever he wanted them for. He's got a little pond in the front of his house.
Yeah.
About half an acre
Mm-hmm.
of water. And so they netted pond 3 and 4, which is 2 together. There'd always been whispers of there possibly being a big carp in there that's never been landed. I think people have probably been snapped off, fishing a bit of corn or something.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, bang. And they
Not a
netted
carp
it.
fishery, Clive, at the time.
No. There's one carp in it. Turned out there was one carp in it. Loads of big bream
Yeah.
and a shitload of snails.
Right.
So many snails in there, it was unreal. And jumbo, £40.
Oh, what
Seriously-
a fish
seriously.
to have gone. I mean,
We didn't believe it.
tell me about what the national scene was like, just to put us into
that
context.
was nationally big.
Yeah.
We had visions of people driving up from all over the country to try and catch jumbo if it went in one of our waters.
Okay.
But Kevin thought,
You know
I
those
said I'd
fish I
have
was
a couple
gonna-
of fish.
Yeah.
I'll have that one.
Which would have been the jewel in the crown.
Which kind of upset a few
Right,
people.
okay.
But, well, it is what it is.
Well, he was good to his word.
Yeah.
And this went into the small pond
yeah, it's
or
garden
lake
pond,
or whatever you
yeah.
want to call it.
There was that's funny in itself. So I was just good friends with Kevin. I'm still a good friend with him. Don't speak to him very often, but so I'd go up to his house, maybe on a sunny day, and there's like fish that would swim by. You think, what is that? It's just like Patagonian something or
really?
other, like bright coloured fins and things. And there's a few carp in there, so a couple of red mire carp in there, I think, and jumbo. And he'd let people fish for it occasionally, and I caught it on my second trip.
So before we talk about you fishing there and how you even managed to do that, do you remember how did you hear about what had happened at 3 and 4?
I don't know, but it's again no social media, so it must have been a phone call. Have you heard what's happened? But and we all just laughed. I think I was fishing at Emmetland at the time. Well, it was ridiculous. A £40 carp. We're fishing for 20-pounders. Ridiculous. Somebody's lying. And they weren't. Magnificent looking thing.
I mean, yeah, magnificent fish, mate.
It certainly was.
But how do you even go about this? This isn't even a ticket. This is somebody's property.
Purely friendship, just friendship. There was a handful of us got the opportunity to fish for it.
What regular? I mean, give us the context. How often
Well,
can
it
you
was
go?
about, no. It was like, yeah, you can have a go on Sunday if you want. And
Would you ask him, or would he tell you that you could?
I don't know how it came about.
Right.
I probably said, "Can I come and fish for it?" Kev, can I come and fish for jumbo? Oh, go on then.
Had he caught it at this stage? Did
he caught it.
Yeah.
He caught it. Some people didn't.
Right. Which must have.
Well, they were coming up for a quick few hours.
Yes.
I remember I caught on the first trip there. I caught big bream. And then the second trip, I caught jumbo. It was on chunks of luncheon meat.
Mm-hmm. How did you come to that? The realization that was going to work.
Carp like luncheon meat,
Yeah.
don't they?
You need a quick
I'm trying
bite,
to
basically.
think. Yeah, I'm trying to think what year that was.
What do you
And I
think?
can't think.
Early 90s?
Right, if it was at I don't know. So I don't know. I was in
It
hair.
wasn't the 80s, surely.
I don't know. I don't know. I was hair rigging. Probably hair rigging cubes of luncheon meat. I think I slung a load in on the last trip. Well, it'd never been caught, had it? So it's just mean it'd never been caught in Brandsburton. No. So I hadn't seen luncheon meat, sausage meat, sweet corn. I hadn't seen anything. So luncheon meat's as good as anything, isn't it? If it isn't getting mullered by a nuisance fish. So I've got my rod set up and just up the grass, and then there's the veranda into Kev's house. So I'm in there with a cup of cocoa or coffee or something. It's only a few yards. Beep, 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 off she goes. And so I'm playing this thing. It could only be jumbo. You think, oh Lordy, I've got him on. With that, Chris, who at the time was about 3, I remember he had a bright blue, what I call a romper suit, a bit like a Nash. Do you remember the Nash suits?
Yes.
The quilted suit.
Yeah.
And he's on like a scooter. He comes herring around the corner and literally fell in the pond.
Oh no.
Yeah. Jumbo's about ready for netting, so I'm thinking, do I let my son die and net Jumbo? I managed to save him and do both, so I grabbed him out, loved him, and then Jumbo, yeah, and lovely fish. Lovely fish.
Well, I think you're doing it, that's definitely more modest than it needs to be, because I think it was a phenomenal carp.
It would get decried a bit because of where it was, half an acre of water. Not everybody had the opportunity to fish for it. Some people just poo-poo that. I don't care. I enjoyed catching it. It was massive.
It was 43
and a quarter.
So it'd grown. It was Kev feeding it, or like how had it grown?
I don't know. He might have thrown bits and pieces in there.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But and I don't know the answer to this one. How did it get to be one carp in pond
the
3
original
and
pond?
4? How did that happen? There was talk of people talking about it in the 50s possibly. Some fish struggling. I heard a story in one of the lakes, and they started shifting them about from, put them in there, put it in that lake. Who knows? One carp.
One carp. And was it widely accepted as the Yorkshire record, Clive? And what kind of reception did you get when it was sort of in the press?
Mickey taking, really. It wasn't. I didn't claim it as a record or anything, but
the press ran away with that side. They were like, "This is the Yorkshire record," sort of thing.
Did they?
I don't know.
I don't know. I've got a picture of it somewhere. Because Kevin was pretty good at photography.
Was it publicised? Did Kev send it off? Did you? Do you remember?
I know it's appeared in print since, but far more recently in some publication. It was in. I thought, oh, the picture of me there. I don't know. Again, there was no social media, so I wasn't going to get.
Thank God for you at that stage. You'd have got absolutely destroyed.
I'd have set my house on fire. They would, wouldn't they? Come and murder the kids, whatever. There wasn't any, so it was, rumours but no, I didn't get any grief over it. But I didn't make a big deal out of it either, because I realised I was kind of privileged to have the opportunity to
catch what was an immaculate,
fantastic looking fish.
Mirror.
Yeah, beautiful. Sadly, it died.
How long afterwards was it?
I don't know. Kev had it eventually. I think he had it set up, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, he stuck it in the freezer for a while. It sounds callous.
I mean, it might have been quite an old fish when you caught it.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
Never seen a hook. It'd never been banked. Up to it being put in Kevin's pond.
Was it caught after you caught it? Do you remember?
I think so. What, you're saying I'm responsible for killing it?
No, because it might have been years later for all I know. But
I think it was caught again. Yeah. But there were certain people that tried for it and failed, but they would have caught it eventually. But you give us a few hours one Sunday afternoon with a coffee with Kev, that kind of situation.
Yeah, so anyone can fail on those terms, can't they?
Yeah.
It's not a good yardstick of how good you are.
This is a totally different subject. It's easy to fail at carp fishing, don't you think? You analyse it.
I'm as good as anyone at that, mate.
You analyse it. Everything has to fit into place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we'll probably go on to a bit more about this when we talk about the French stuff.
Well, I think let's do that now. Because, like I said, I've mentioned earlier, you have got this phenomenal record of banking the big uns. Probably before there were quite so many big uns as there are now. So take me back to your sort of early French stuff, and how quickly did you move on to fishing for these giants?
Right. Well, the first French trip again was while I was working at Carp World, and again, Tim said to me, "Do you want to go on this trip?"
No, there's a picture of Jeff Shaw in one of these albums.
Jeff Shaw.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened? How he did it?
Yes,
but Jeff Shaw had a beat up black big transporter thing. Converted.
Did he used to use his clients to pioneer water?
Yeah, basically. So I think Jeff should think, I fancy having a go in at whatever it is, Lake Dada.
Yeah.
See if I can get a gang of lads to fund it for me. And that's what he did. So I think 6 or 8 of us used to jump in this van. And it was my first French trip. Mally Roberts was on the trip, big friend of
Where's that one, Clive?
That's it. The first French trip.
Oh, well done, Tove.
Well done, Toby. No flies on you.
Every squirrel, even blind squirrel, finds a nut occasionally.
So we're all in this van. Didn't really know where we were going. And he feeds you, cooks a bit of food on the back of this transporter thing. Can you imagine that? I mean,
there's a picture of him. Actually, we'll try and show this. Maybe we won't be able to.
How could he get 6 people's gear in a transporter, or big transporter?
With 6 people.
With 6 people.
And provisions
food.
for the week.
I've just about filled my transit
So what was
on
Jeff?
my own.
What was Jeff like?
Jeff was sound.
He
He lived on Canvey Island, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah,
so did you have to drive down to meet him down south?
Yeah, I had to go and meet him. Didn't know it was Mally Roberts, who was a big friend of Rod
Huge
Hutchinson's.
character in and of himself. Isn't
He came. We were pals, so he came along, and 4 other guys, I think it was, I'd never met before. And Jeff took us to a place called Tremlin, which from memory was a bit of a triangular shape, like Hutch again had fished there, and Jeff wanted to go try it. Yeah, whatever, Jeff. It's got 40 pounders in it. Yeah, righto. So he took us there, and we had a look round as best you could, and there was like a swim over in the far bank. It looks like there was a cave there. That Mally, well, we'd be right tucked away in there. But Jeff, in his wisdom, took an inflatable boat out. Fine, but he put a petrol outboard on it.
Right.
Strictly against the rules. Strictly. So the locals who were fishing for whatever they were doing, perch and zander and stuff, straight onto the gendarmes. They were there within about 10 minutes and kicked us off.
Oh.
No, it didn't give us any grief.
No.
But no.
It's not ideal though, Clive.
No. So I'd like to know geographically where it was. I can't remember. But we ended up in La Tombe, which is a famous area, very famous. River Seine and all that, and we ended up fishing on a pit there that Seine actually ran into. Some people know the name of it. I can't remember. It's called the Iron Bridge Lake or something. I remember fishing on the end of a channel and caught fish to 35 pounds on my first trip.
And that was the one that Toby just found.
Yeah. I thought, wow, this is all right. They were really varied in sizes because there was all sorts swimming about, coming in and out of the Seine. So
really exciting. Must have been incredibly exciting.
Yeah, I was excited. I was really pleased with that. So I thought, this is okay.
Because no matter what you then did with your fishing, how can you recapture this idea that you really don't know what the next bite's going to be?
Well, it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. It was good. I think Mally had a 36 as well. There's a couple of decent
good
carp.
company, Mally, by the sound of it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was kind of Billy No Mates on this corner of this channel.
Yeah.
And I actually had to take that fish across to the mainland, if you like, for them to photograph and everything. Remember
some good
that.
shots as well. They look like real sort of colourful, vivid shots.
Again, that's probably Mally. And Mally probably took the picture. I think he had a 2 1/4. The ones you look down.
Did you have to take all the bait out with you? Did you prep
I
stuff
can't
on the
remember
bank?
what we did. Can't remember what we did for bait. I would have probably taken my own boilies. I would have thought.
You'd use boiler, you think?
I think
not
so.
Tigers.
Yeah, I used boilies. I think.
Right.
But that was really good, and it just kind of thought, yeah, this is good, isn't it? This is French stuff, and I always think it's an adventure.
And that's got to be the 90s, sort of early 90s.
Yeah.
91, 92 sort of time.
Yeah. Time's a bad thing, isn't it? Memory failing.
But I think my point is it's an awful long
still
time
working
before you.
Yeah, it would be like you're about right with your time in there, and so that kind of set me on the French thing.
Well, did it? Did you carry on at that point?
Yeah. So I thought this is good. I like it. One of the few things that I kind of enjoyed at school was French. So I can parley a little bit. So I can get by in France if there's a disaster or whatever. And I kind of enjoy it. I kind of feel at home in France. I know that sounds bizarre. You're
bon vivant, Clive, aren't you?
Kind of. So I do like going there. I have no desire to go to Hungary, Croatia. I have no desire to do that. There's enough in France to keep me going for a lifetime and more.
Do you know what? I got talking to one of the guys here earlier before we started rolling. I think, and it changes all the time. It can be a curry, it can be anything. But one of if I had one thing to eat, I think a freshly baked French
French
baguette, just with maybe a
Bit of
proper
lard-
bit of
lard
salted
pack.
butter.
Or,
Yeah,
what's the one over there? What's the butter over there?
President.
Correct,
Yeah.
President.
Yeah,
that's the
or
one.
a bit of French cheese. I mean, it is epic, and the wine.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not a big wine fan, but people love that, don't they? I'm sure you do, Clive. But
No, I don't.
not a wine
No,
drinker.
Drink port.
Okay.
Port.
Yeah.
I like sweet drinks. That's partly why I don't drink a lot, is because I genuinely don't like the taste of alcohol.
Oh.
Beer, no thanks. Lager, with stacks of lime in it.
Mm-hmm.
A sweet cider I like, and port. And port's quite sweet.
So you know these early trips. Let's just on the Jeff Shaw trip, for instance. Was it sort of drive and survive? Or-
Oh yeah.
Right. How were you
Absolutely.
eating and stuff?
We thought we'd get kicked off again at any minute.
Right.
Jeff didn't care. Just roll up. You go there. You go there. You go there. Righto. I mean, there were people coming onto the lake in their punt things. You know, the French, but they didn't give us any grill. We thought, well, they're going to report us, aren't they? As soon as they do their fishing, but they didn't. And we spent the best part of a week there.
How are you being fed though? How was
Jeff
Jeff?
fed us.
He's bringing it out to you.
He used to cook it on the back of his transporter thing.
And what?
Oh, Jeff played in the Carpside Supergroup before I
Did
forget.
he?
Yeah.
What kind of character was he?
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him.
Quite enterprising, to set up this business in the
Yeah.
very
one of the
infancy.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah. To take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And I honestly chronologically can't remember where I went after that. I mean, I've been to the Quay a lot of times, not in the last.
Because that's the first commercial.
It was
British run commercial, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
So what made you want to go there initially? They were pretty good at marketing themselves, weren't they, back in the
lots
day?
of carp.
Yeah.
Catch lots of carp.
And it's fair to say,
And
I think,
fantastic food and stuff, by the way.
really,
Mm.
it's fair to say, Clive, that you've done more of that fishing than you have, let's say, the Jeff Shaw pioneering style in the
Oh
intervening
yeah,
time.
absolutely.
Why
yeah.
why did that commercial stuff appeal to you? Do you think?
Oh, easier, isn't it? It's
Simple as
easier.
that.
Yeah, it's how can I put it? I'm not an SAS type, am I? I'm not Bear Grylls. I
More
like a
like
bit of
slippers-
home comfort.
Slippers in front of the rods and that.
I've done both. I've done lots of drive and survives, and if there's showers there and toilets, all so much the better. You know, it fits the purpose, doesn't it? It's accessible. It's easy. A lot of people go there on the first French trips, and they'll have a good time. And whether they go further than that and decide to go to some of these other lakes, some people just go to one for the rest of their lives, don't they? They're not,
At what point did you? I mean, Le Quay had lots of carp and some big ones, but not big by what we'd consider to be big now.
no, they kind of. I think there was an odd 60 knocking about. An
Which
odd
is huge,
60.
right? I mean, I didn't think they
Massive
went quite as
carp,
big.
a 60 pounder.
Yeah.
I didn't catch 60. I had a couple of 50s, I think.
And how did you find that experience?
Good, but I think it's a bit like going back to what you said earlier about why did you move off motorway. They just come to a time you think it's time for a change.
Mm-hmm.
Time for a change, go somewhere else. Did this thing, that was a good laugh. Caught my first, I don't even tell if we can find it, the first worldy big common I caught was at Willows at Lac de Verge.
Mm-hmm.
Small, it's like more like a canal. There was two lakes, and the one with the big fish in hadn't really been developed. Well done. That's a fish
There you
called La Pen, which was named after the French president that had one eye. So obviously I took the picture of the side that did have an eye.
Look at those camo trousers
Loving
as
it,
well.
aren't they? Loving it.
They're like, you've got like beach leaf
Fashion
trousers.
guru.
Yeah, with the blue. Again, you like a colour that pops in your photos, Clive, don't
Looks
you?
purple.
I'm no good with blues and purples, mate. I'm colourblind. So.
It would be blue. That would be blue, not purple. Well, you never know.
But that
That
looks a
was
bit-
big.
that
You
looked-
know, that was considered big at the time.
I mean, it's fair to say you've done all right with the commons. you know.
God, I
big commons.
don't take this the wrong way. I've caught so many big commons. I can't remember.
But this was the one that kicked it off.
That was a big. Yeah, that was. I say it was worldy big that at the time. 57 pound. There'd been
that's
bigger
big
caught,
now, isn't it,
but
still?
you know they weren't
Yeah.
regular occurrences.
Because the French commercial scene was still in its infancy then. It's I think,
Yeah.
we'd have to
This was
say.
quite early days.
yeah.
Can I tell you a funny story about that? You can always cut it out if it's libelous.
Sounds like a good way to introduce any
Well,
story. Absolutely.
Right. So I'd fished the lake behind that on a previous occasion, like they call that orchard. So it was orchard and willows.
Yeah.
So I'd fished orchard, caught quite a lot of carp from there. I knew the big fish were in willow, but the other lads thought, well, we fancy a bit of that action. We'll have a bit of that, you know. So I thought, well, I'm going to stick it out for the big ones on willow. And it kind of played right into my hands because I set up in the middle, really. I think there's a bit of an island to my left. And one lad came on. I had a couple of fish. He had the alarms were going off constantly behind me on the other lake. And so you think, I'm going on there. So one of the lads, I think, I forget who, Derek Pye, I think, had been on there. That's right, Derek Pye. And he came onto mine, but he swapped ends. So I had one angler there, probably forcing the fish past me that way. Derek goes and sets up down, pushes him back to me. I did really well. I had another 50-pound mirror. It was a really good week. That thing pulled my arm off. Absolutely pulled my arm off.
It's a good nick as well, isn't it?
Yeah, apart from only having one eye.
Yeah.
Anyway, so where were we going with this? Right. So the secret agents decide we need to have another trip here.
Yeah.
So I said, let's go on Willow, where the big ones are. I caught a few, John caught a few, but Clive Williams was doing particularly well. I go, oh, you're doing well, Clive. You're doing really well. I reckon you're going to catch Le Pen before the week's out. There ain't that many in here, and you're doing really well. I said, that'd be nice, that wouldn't it? Le Pen probably got I think it crept over 60 pound then. So this is the libelous bit. So Secret John, as we call him. I know, no, I'm not going to say it wasn't secret. It was something else. John, the owner, came down, and I was saying, God, Clive's doing well. He's having a really good week. I said, I think he'll get Le Pen before the week's out. I said, yeah, he's doing really well. I hope so. Tell him to stick at it. La la la. Turns out he'd been dead 3 months. Buried.
Really?
It's not good, is it? Just tell the truth.
I'm sure it's not the first or the last time that.
No, I mean, I'm part of a lake. You know that stables up in near where I live. Mm-hmm. When we've lost fish, we've told people.
Yeah.
We lost them this year. We got 18 fish we lost. All the big ones in our lake died. Yeah. There's still some good ones left, but the biggest fish all died.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, horrible.
You had a huge common at one stage, didn't you, up there?
Not in my lake. We had mirrors up to 35, but it's a little pond.
Big, yeah.
It was doing terrific. Still it's doing fine. We've still got loads of carp. But we just instantly told people, right, boys, the A-team's gone.
Did the lads stick with you? Are
renewed? Yeah, I'm sure we'll lose one or two when the membership group. But people that are going there, they're not looking for 50-pounders. Mm-hmm. You know, the number of people that go to our lake and come back and say, I've had a PB 19.6 and things like that. And I've had a 25, great. They're happy with that.
Does that mean that fishing in Yorkshire, although we perhaps think it's moved on a lot, people's expectations still haven't shot?
Well, I think you've got people coming into it all the time, haven't you? So they haven't caught a 20-pounder. Blasé, but you take that 20-pounder for granted, don't you? But they haven't. So they love it. It's good little water.
How do you think you can recreate what you had in terms of the big
I just leave it to nature. We're not going to buy any more big fish. It's financial,
money
Russian
pit
roulette.
Sort of thing. Yeah, right. Okay, got
well, they die, don't they? You can pay God knows how much for a 35 to replace the one you've lost, or several. It's going to cost a fortune. They could keel over. So just let the nature do its thing. We will put 10 or 15, probably mid to low doubles in, and let them do their own thing.
Now,
where were we?
If people want to watch the, Clive's action unfold, they can catch the champagne carping on YouTube now. Although I've got a DVD, so
with the famous hemp rig.
Tell me about the hemp rig.
It wasn't my invention. A pal of mine, long-haired Eric, he came up with it and literally fished hemp over hemp. I did really well. That rig. So it's 3 hairs coming off the back of a long shank hook, going through shrink tubing, like 6 pieces of corn, proper hemp. They're not tied in the end of each hair, and then just fish it over hemp, and it works.
Not balanced in any way.
No, just bosh on the deck.
Yeah.
So he probably wasn't the first person to do it, but the first person to my knowledge had done it and fish it solely over hemp. It took some doing.
And when you first saw it, Clive, what were your did you think this is?
Well, no, he'd caught. So I'm thinking, but have me some of that.
And presumably it relies on you being tight with your baiting.
Right, here's the thing. Okay, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Mm.
So I'm fishing there and probably remote boating it out and dropping it. So you can't get much more accurate than that.
Yeah.
And there's also a PVA solid bag full of it. And it worked. I caught some fish on that video. I caught some on the hemp rig. You want to try these things, don't you, in front of the camera? So I did that, and I caught one in the middle of the night. And it was bloody cold that week during the night. So I literally just went plop. So there's 18 grains of hemp in the middle of nowhere. Could
You
have
fished it as a single.
clipping up or anything like that, or wrapping up.
Yeah.
He's just like,
That's
that'll
about
do.
right.
He
Yeah.
went off.
I mean, do you think that you landed on the bait by chance, or
No, I think there's probably enough attraction in 18 grains of hemp for a carp in the vicinity to come and snaffle it.
that's
It's
still
hilarious.
it's not done now, is it? Either that, I'm almost certain hardly anyone's used a rig like
Well,
that this year.
Be warned if you. Maybe you can maybe zoom in on that later and show that
Yeah.
rig. It's a pain in the bum to put together.
Mm.
It's the kind of mechanics of it aren't the actual doing it because you're
Just
threading
sewing needle, is it?
sewing needle,
Yeah.
and you end up with blood
Hands
pouring
like a
out of your
pinfish,
fingers,
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's horrible, but it works.
When was the last time you used it?
I've got some knocking about as we're all dried and crispy.
Yeah.
It's a while ago,
yeah.
a good while ago. You should resurrect it because.
Then
But you get a lot of bans on water, don't you? You can't use hemp, you can't use this, you can't use that. So, but it's a winner, honestly.
I think when I've seen you fish, Clive, which is, perhaps only a couple of times, certainly at Teliats, when we went out there to film that, you seemed to me to be making things as easy as possible for you, like because you were throwing sticking boilie, which is a lovely way to fish, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was the only one doing it. There was spoms flying everywhere there. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I ain't doing this. I'm thinking, there's quite a lot of carp in here. And I'd got that plateau in front of me, hadn't I? About 80 yards out, something like that. I thought, they're all doing that. Fishing, and good at it, by the way. You got
you got Danny Fairbrass.
Yeah, they're fishing accurately with the spoms.
Yeah.
I thought, it's not what I do, so I'm going to do what I do, and it really paid off that week.
Mm-hmm.
And the lad next to me, this has happened a couple of times, it happened at Road Lake as well, he wasn't doing that well. I said, I'll try what I'm doing, just stick it out, give them a bit of an area rather than just a patch. And that was a terrific week. I had 270s, and it's all right, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they weren't just 70s, were they?
One was 73 and the other was 79.12, which is the long common, which quite often comes out, I used to, over £80, but still a big fish.
It is a big fish.
It's a great week, that.
Yeah, I mean, you're a relaxed angler, I would say. You at least you give off the vibe of being relaxed.
I try and, don't get me wrong, I try and do what I think needs doing to catch them, but I'm not going to over dwell on things. And
do you think that kind of relaxed and confident approach is important when you're on a week away?
Well, I don't get,
because a lot of the time you're stuck in a swim, aren't you? A lot of the time you can't move.
Well, this is I knew we'd possibly come to that. You can't. This is one of the dangers of a French trip, or the things that can go wrong. So, depending on what lake you're fishing, you may go fishing where, there's only 4 swims and there's 4 of you. You make the bad swim choice, or you get a bad draw and you end up with the one that nobody wants, whatever. You can be staring down the barrel of a blank easily. And that's happened to me a few times. I remember at Pascal's once, I did not see a carp in my half of the lake. Just watching them all there, didn't have a bite. They barely had a beep.
Does that mean that your prep has to be immaculate in terms of knowing what you're likely to face in the draw bag?
Yeah, but prepping is difficult. We might have a master plan, mate. We might have a master plan. This will sort them out. This will, that bait. Blah, blah, blah. I remember going again. My first trip to Pascal's, my mate had been a few months earlier, and one lad had done particularly well. I said, how's the weed? He said, fine, there's a little strip. I went down, got in a nice swim, gate swim, I think it was, not 60s, gate swim, lobbed the marker float out, couldn't get it back. It was just solid, just like, plan A's out of the window, isn't it? So, thankfully, got stuff to make chods with and caught on chods. And this is not a case of blowing my trumpet or anything else, but had I not shown the other lads to set up chods, they probably wouldn't have caught anything. Unbelievable.
Let's go back to the first of your giants, which is the Sauce Common, I guess. Tell me about the lake, Clive, and how you came to target that fish.
Didn't target at all.
You must have known it was there, though.
Kind of, but it wasn't £80. It come through the ranks, 50, 60. Honestly, I swear to God, I did not target that one at all.
Tell me about the lake.
We liked it. We liked the lake.
What's it like?
Civilised.
Yeah.
Beyond civilised now. Phil Gregory owned it, and he's OCD. So everything's immaculate. Lawn, bits of lawn to cut the gravel swims and everything. Very nice. And it had other good fish in it, don't get me wrong. There we go. So I fished it a few times. I had them up to 50 odd. It genuinely didn't enter my head about catching this fish. I swear to God, that's the honest truth. And then I caught it on this particular trip.
Is this capture we've got here? Is that the first or second? Do you know?
That's the first time I caught.
I mean,
you have to tell by the colour of my trousers. I can't tell from that.
It's always looked a strange carp to me. It's like a different species of fish entirely. It looks like a carp built to a different scale.
Danny calls it. What does he call it? Not a koi. What's the?
Like a shagoy.
Shagoy. I think it's a fantastic looking thing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's long dead, isn't it now, that fish?
Yeah, unfortunately.
But tell me about the circumstances leading up to your first capture.
Well, it's going back to what I said before. John Richards was in peg 1. I was in 3, which gives you the bigger half of the lake. I've got halfway across that, and there's an island to the left. Never found the shelf from the island to be particularly productive, but one of the sensible things I think we did was, right, nobody fished the far bank, as in fish from it. So we all go along this side.
Yeah.
Then they've got room to manoeuvre. They got a bit of space. And I wasn't the first to catch. I think I lost a tench on the Monday morning, and then about 7:45 in the morning, that thing rattles off.
Monday morning, haven't got there.
Just like midway, halfway, open water. There's no specific features or anything. You're not fishing to a plateau behind the gravel belt, There's nothing like that. It was silty. And obviously when it rolled into the net and the other lads there, it took me about 35 minutes to land it, which is a fair old time to be playing a fish. Partly that is once you've seen it, you think,
you go a bit easier.
God,
yeah.
I don't want to lose that. There's no real snags for it to. It did travel a long way down the lake. I had to shout, John, there's fish coming your way, and it kind of go under the bushes, but there were no problems. And it's fantastic, isn't it? I think it's an awesome fish. That one.
What did you feel when you realised it was that?
I was over the moon.
And it's probably going to be a significant amount bigger than anything you've ever hooked before.
Yeah, a lot bigger. I wouldn't. People say, I must fight like mad. They're not. It's not any harder to play it in, but it could take a while because they only have an 8, like 6 stone, isn't it? So it only has to go like that with its tail, and you've got 6 stone pulling in the way. The second time, I don't know. I can check that, but that's the first. I think that's the second time I caught it. It was £88.
The first time it was over 80.
83.
And do you remember?
They're a year apart. A year and a week apart. So Tuesday morning, same time of day, same swim.
Is that the second one there?
That's, oh my Lord.
Different. Oh, that's the same capture, isn't it? I think. Looking at the trousers, they've got camo trousers and both. So.
Right, that's first time.
Yeah.
That's first time. Yeah. So it's 83 there. Incredible. I was well excited, obviously. I think he's a great looking
What
fish.
do you how does that leave you feeling? The fact you've caught an 80-pounder. Because I mean, this has got to be 10 years ago, is it? More?
Does it say on the photo? Don't know. But I was really excited.
I mean, I think probably the big carp scene in France even has moved on. There are more 80s now than there were then. That was quite a rare fish, Clive.
Yeah,
I think,
it was.
then.
Yeah, a lot of people set the stall out to catch it. I think Maddox did. Kevin Maddox, that sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it? Kevin Maddox. Lockie, he had a go, didn't catch it. Well, you would want to catch it, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, it was probably the biggest common in the world. Was it the biggest common in the world at that time?
I don't know whether there was one slightly bigger.
Rainbow.
Tiliats.
Teliats. Okay.
Yeah, there was was it the General and the General's mate? They were big in Tiliats. So it was up there, definitely up there.
But it's interesting that despite the fact you're fishing a lake which has got a fish which may have been 80-pound, you didn't know at the time, it isn't on your mind.
No, it wasn't. I swear to God, and that's not a lie. We might have had a passing, wouldn't it be nice if somebody caught that big one? But not like, it's in here, and last time it was out was on August 26th, and it went, probably didn't conceive that I could catch it. Not I could, but I would catch it. So I didn't. So
the second time when you then recaptured it,
yeah,
was that an anticlimax or?
No, really, it was 5. Some people say it doesn't count. You caught it twice a recapture. Well, it was still a fantastic experience. Took me an hour to land it at the same time.
Right.
Genuinely.
How quickly did you know that it was that one that you had on the end?
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's different, but it's exactly the same spot within a yard or two. Same time of day, 7:45, I think it was. The bite was identical. You'd get dit, and then just slowly up the top. I used to watch the line was coming out to the water, tightening up. And that'll do. Terrific. I really enjoyed it.
Because you must have realised at some stage it was the same fish. Did it give you a chance to be less nervous about the battle and enjoy it?
I don't think so.
No.
I think I was just pretty nervous. I'd say it was £5 heavy. It was 88 that time.
Now I feel like
Toby's dad caught it.
I was going to say
Toby. Then we started to talk, Damien and I, a bit about these big fish and where they lived. There you go.
So he targeted that because you'd caught it. He targeted that fish and was able to do so because he knew about it. Yeah.
Same swim.
After your capture.
Yeah.
It set Damien on a route to
it did.
to targeting the biggest carp in the world as well, didn't it?
Yeah, we're all really. I wouldn't say the big carp, the really big ones. Really big ones.
I mean, obviously access is impossible to some lakes, isn't it? It's sort of being able to accessible ones.
Yeah.
Were you on this trip or not?
No, Bullet was with him.
Right.
Bullet is one of my bestest buddies, bestest fishing pals. Just such good company. He's hilarious.
Did Damo tap you up for the info?
Oh, a little bit. Yeah,
because he likes to know everything, doesn't he, about a potential target? So.
But he's very good at it, so chances are. But I know he went in the same swim 3. I got a phone call because I texted him, but has he had it yet? How's it going? And then I got a phone call from Danny Turtle, who was at the lake, had gone down for a coffee or something, not that far away from Gigantic, you have to go and see Damo. And he said, we think he's got it on. But it was nearly 2 hours later before he landed it. I mean,
there can't have been any doubt by the end.
No. There was it's incredible.
How do you follow that, Clive? Because had you got the bug for catching these giants?
I would say so, because we Damon and I got our heads together. Right, where else should we go? Where? He went off to Rainbow, which I could have gone with him, but as I said to you earlier, I'm crap in boats now. Terrible. And I know there's a lot of boat work, isn't there, at Rainbow? So I thought it's not fair on Damo to have to do all the graft while I just sit there waiting for the alarms to go off. There we go. So we I think that was our next destination, Gravier's.
Talk to me about the picture that's on screen.
That's the Scarfish from Gravier's. That was 93. £93.
That's what I think it was.
Yeah,
93.
Did you take this
93.
pic-
I took the picture. Yeah,
Yeah, good shot, Clive.
yeah, it's awesome.
That's Damien with it, by the way, for anyone
Yeah,
listening.
that's Damo.
What was it like? What was the atmosphere like on that lake, knowing that at the time that's the biggest carp in the world, is it?
Yeah, I think it probably was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. What a character, that fish.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd have loved to have caught that, but I think that was not our first trip. On the previous trip, I was lucky enough to catch another 8-pounder,
The brown fish.
the brown fish.
Mm-hmm.
Not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
those boxy, deep, like
Yeah.
muscular carp.
So I caught that one.
I don't
I
want
tell
to.
you
I
an
don't want.
interesting fact.
Yep.
All but one of the big fish I've caught have been in broad daylight.
Right.
Yeah. I had one that was Dubois fish that was just before dawn was breaking, so it was still a little bit dark. By the time I played it, it was getting light. So all in daylight, middle of the afternoon. And
I want to talk. We can't just brush over the Gravier's trips, because I really want to know about how much prep you put in. I want to know about what you were, because by this stage you are presumably fishing. You're trying to target these biggest fish.
yeah, but I can't say as I had a particular technique or method for catching the biggest in the lake.
No.
But I would, I think if you're catching them consistently, chances are you're going to get a
Okay, so
big
you're
one.
out of that mold. You're going to
Yeah.
try and get bites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully the big one come along. But we're going back to the bait thing again. Nutribaits did a variation on trigger, and they kind of code named it Blue Oyster.
Right.
All right. Blue Oyster was actually, come on, things I don't like on pizzas. Fishy things.
Anchovies.
Correct. It was anchovy flavour.
I love anchovies on pizzas. I'll put them on even if
Vile.
they're not on there. Yeah.
Vile. So this was a bait thing. It was based on trigger.
Yeah.
Lots of green lip mussel, liver powder, trigger ATS they call it, and then some. And then dosed up with this anchovy flavour. And the first people to use it, they had phenomenal success on it. Some of their lads that worked there. Just again, it's not done scientifically. It's done as, let's see if this works.
Okay.
And it really, that was obviously a great balance of things. And so I thought, Blue Oyster's going with me to Gravier's. They will not have seen it. They did see it about a fortnight before. Danish lad, I think, had taken it out there, and he had the scar.
Oh.
So I thought the scar's been caught on it. So he's had bites.
Which is potentially a blow.
Yeah, I don't get too upset about the thing, but I caught the brownfish on it.
Tell me about how.
Fishing. Do you know the layout of the lake?
I don't at all. Describe the lake to us.
25 acres,
Yeah.
oval-ish, slightly wider at this end, if you like. Now there's the point. There's a big point comes down, and there's like a wooden lodge thing on it. Nothing in it, but you can socialise in there, cook your meals. No facilities, just and you get 3 anglers on this point, possibly 4 at a touch. So we do 2 there, and then 2 on another swim down the far bank behind Luke's.
Who's with you on the trip?
Ooh, now then. On that one, when Damien caught it, Damo, Jonesy, who's nuts, I think he'll back me up on that. Bullet and myself.
Mm-hmm.
I fished on the point. Yeah, I did on the first trip. That's when, and I was fishing on. If the point's going that way, I fished on the left-hand side.
What kind of marks were you fishing?
Reed beds and weed beds along.
So marginal.
Yeah. It's about a fair way across. 80, 90
far
yards.
side.
Yeah. But there'd be clumps of weed, which you could visibly see. They weren't really to the surface, but when you can, the weed bed there, and they were too close together with a gap. And
you could boat fish and prod or
yeah,
dunk.
you do anything like that.
Yeah.
We didn't do that back in those days.
No.
We'd go out and have a look.
Yeah. What, and drop into
Yeah,
the
you drop
boat?
baits out. Yeah. Right, here's a good one. You're not allowed to. Pretty much, you're not allowed to cast at Gravier's.
Okay.
we won't have it.
In case you crack off.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I mean, he
fine.
did
Yeah,
everything.
You can use the boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
you take it out with the boat.
Mm.
Use a remote boat, whatever you want to do. Don't cast.
I mean, I can see the logic.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm.
But yeah, and caught that in the middle of the day.
The brownfish types. Have we got that shot? Did we get?
So I had to go out in the boat to land that one, whether I had to or not, but I felt I should because it got stuck a bit in the weed.
And when that pops up on the line, what are you thinking? Did you think for a minute it was
I
it?
thought,
Or-
oh Jesus, that's massive.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, that's massive. Yeah, it kind of didn't fight that much. Well, it kind of plodded about a bit. Got out of the weed bit. It plodded about a bit. I remember it just popped up. Like, oh, I've had enough now. Net. Thank you very much.
£88.
But bear in mind that while
88,
you're
did you say?
83, 4, I think.
Sorry.
So all the time you're doing this, Luke Moffat, the proprietor, who was a right character, he's such a laugh, he's watching you with his NASA-style camera that he has on his lodge.
No.
I said, and they go, yeah, you came out, had a bit of fun and games with that, didn't you, Clive? Didn't do too bad in the boat, as it happens. He's like watching it all going on.
What I mean, he's renowned, isn't he, for his sort of uncompromising rules around fish safety.
But a lot of people have followed his rules.
Yes.
Lots of people.
Yeah, no, you're right. And
Yeah,
a lot of,
all this, they're getting in the water, makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Bit dangerous at times, I always think, but I understand it. Weighing, they've got to be weighed in the water.
because you drop one, it's that big, it could
It
could die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's his living. One of the big draws to go into Graviers was the brownfish and scar. You can't get away from that.
What was it like seeing Scar when Damo
That
caught
was
it?
awesome.
I mean, presume you've never seen a bigger carp,
No, I've seen my bigger one since.
have you?
Not in my net, unfortunately.
No.
But this, when you talk about that, when you say you've seen bigger carp, I have. So what does it tell you? I'm fishing the right waters. I'm fishing where the big ones really live. You know, I don't always catch them.
Which also tells me that you'd switched on at that point to this idea that that's what you wanted to do.
Yes, I like the idea of when I'm fishing that whether I catch it or not, it doesn't matter. But there's something massive out there that could just, because I started carp fishing because carp were bigger than anything else I used to catch, and they used to pull your string a bit, didn't they? So that's how. And now people will say, "Oh, size doesn't matter." Well, of course it does. Because what's your PB?
Me, you asking me
Yeah.
what in the world or
Well, yeah, well,
world PB's 50,
so you know,
52.
so you know, so it matters, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, the fact I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you know what, Clive? I'd swap that fish tomorrow for something from the UK. It's just a personal thing. That was from
Yeah.
Teliats, funny enough.
Right.
Yeah, and I did enjoy it. Do you know what? I went fishing. I went there with my mate.
Had he cut all the trees down at that point?
No, it was ages ago.
Oh, right.
I went there with Steve Renyard, and he always has a go at me because he thought I was a bit too sort of dismissive of French fishing and stuff. And he said, "You loved that
Right.
moment. I've got pictures of you jumping in the lake and stuff." And he is
Yeah.
right, of course. In the moment, you've gone there to catch a carp, and I enjoyed that. And it's the biggest carp I've ever caught. Still, I think. Yeah.
There's a misconception about carp fishing in France. I think it's getting, dismissed now, that misconception. It's not easy. These things are getting fished for 24/7,
Well-
month after month after month, getting more food than they need in certain instances. It's going to be hard.
I mean, Graviers was low stock, wasn't it?
There weren't lots in Graviers. No, we never had like a bonanza week where there's 40, 50 fish. It would be.
I kind of got the sense there wasn't even that in the lake, was there? I don't know.
think there was that many, yeah.
So you're up against it then, numbers purely on numbers.
Yeah, I wouldn't really think about that either. I just thought, well, there's the scar and the...
So when you're fishing for these enormous carp, are you simply scaling up the sort of tactics that you've always used, like in terms
No.
of rigs and what have you?
No.
What do you do then? What's the...
Do you mean suddenly we went to 18 and 20 pound line or anything? No.
Yeah, or bigger hooks.
No.
In
No.
fish English style, right?
12 pound line probably. I don't tell Luke that, he'd probably ban me.
No, it probably wasn't there, was it?
No, it wasn't there,
You'd
somewhere
have
else. Because if there's no snags, there's no...
No, that's fine. What was your go-to though? Sort of lead clip?
Yeah, oh yeah. You have to use lead clip at Graviers because he checks your rigs. Even if you've
Genuinely
been there
rig checks
8 million times to fish, he'll come and does that. And he literally shakes your goes like that with your line or your tubing. Has to be tubing. And if your lead doesn't come off, try again, Clive.
Right.
It's fair enough.
Yeah.
It's his fish.
And rig-wise, for these big ones?
Well, my favourite rig for a long time, my successful rig, was a KD rig.
Right.
Now you'd probably say, we can't fish a KD rig in weed. Well, I did. On the edges, in the gaps. I did really well on the KD
So you
rig.
didn't
It makes
scale
you
up-
wonder why you ever changed.
Well, no one uses it seemingly anymore, do
It's
they?
brilliant.
What, you didn't scale up to like a 2?
I wasn't using pop-ups, so I was using
Yeah.
probably a little snowman from
Balanced,
memory.
yeah.
So it's on the deck. But
you didn't scale up to a 2, for
No.
instance, because these fish are huge.
No, but Rich, you've been at it long enough. Have you noticed how it all goes full scale?
Yeah, of
Everything
course.
goes
Yeah,
full
yeah,
circle. Right. We're on big hooks this year. Right. Yeah, twos upwards. Yeah. Okay. 2 years later, we're on 8s now. Eights is the way forward. It just does it, doesn't it?
So are you more comfortable
I'm
on 8s and 6s?
No, as it happens, I kind of have been fishing bigger hooks, but
You weren't
you
then?
can't explain some things that you do. Why did I ever stop using the KD rig? The KD rig varied from the time I started using it to the time I finished, with different hook lengths, different size hooks, length of the rig, and stuff like that. But it was still basically KD at the end.
And did you always fish that with an element of buoyancy on the hook bait end?
No, to fish
Straight out the bag.
Yeah,
Right.
Sometimes, yeah. More often than not, it'd be a snowman. But I never like a big snowman. I'd like,
Subtle still.
I can't.
I mean, that makes sense because a lot of people go
You've
to
had
Europe.
Dave Moore in, haven't you? You've had Dave Moore in.
Not on my watch, Simon.
Oh, right.
Simon's
Well,
one,
Simon, Dave Moore will not fish anything, pretty sure of this, other than a bottom bait to match the hatch. And his thinking is, you're feeding them that, they'll eat that then, won't they? He can't really argue with that.
No.
By putting a bright yellow pineapple pop-up amongst all that, are you going to catch them or scare them? Personal choice. Isn't
Fair
it?
point. I mean, I think it's ended up being a little bit more baity than I thought it would be, Clive. But the one thing that we should mention is like that trigger. You read anything of Tim's from that sort of 90s through to early 2000s, he certainly thought that was among the best big fish baits of all time, didn't he? I don't know if you had
I
that
just
same
think it was one of the
experience.
best baits of all time. Oh, it caught everything. Motorway, everything. Once it started going in, more and more went in. The carp got everything. Bream, tench, the lot, roach. Yeah.
Is there such thing as a big fish bait, in your opinion?
No. Not my experience. No, not really.
But you were confident taking that one
If you've
to
got a bait that's good enough to catch the carp, and then the big ones should follow or come first. But that was going back to the Gravier's thing. That's what happened.
You had the
So this guy
brownfish straight away.
Yeah, I had brownfish straight away. The guy that had used that bait before had caught scar straight away. So, well, it's to do with your chemical reactor thing or
Who knows?
who knows? But I just think, like I said before, if they've been battered to death on one bait, I don't particularly want to use that. And I know when people have argued with me or discussed with me their thoughts on it, it's like an actual food. You could be right, but I'm not going to go down that route. I'm going to try something else.
I mean, at this point, you've caught the brownfish now. You must be thinking, I've got a bit of a knack for this. I mean, and even if you weren't, other people were, because I remember having those conversations at the time.
Yeah.
Clive has got the knack.
But I can't really explain it, can I? I can't really. I wish I could say to you, yeah, well, now I'm going to tell you why. Because I used so-and-so, so-and-so. But it's like I said to you earlier, those times I get it right, it happens. And I can't really explain when there's, like when I had the Fury, that thing called Fury out of Prunay, there's a lot of fish in there.
I mean, this is an 84-pound mirror.
84-pounder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of carp in Prunay. Big ones as well, but that was by far the biggest. Why did I catch that? I caught loads that week.
Maybe you're not the right person to ask. Maybe we should be asking Bullet or something.
Oh yeah, they say I have no idea either because he's a wanker. Oops, sorry. But no, I can't really explain it other than those times I've got it right. And I've been in the company of good anglers.
Yes.
At the same time, better than me, far better than me. Millen, he was with me twice at Dubois, and I caught 80-pounder on 2 different occasions. from different ends of the lake.
That Dubois Common is a great fish.
There was another one that was shrouded in controversy,
Oh,
wasn't
really?
there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Mm.
Perhaps we better not go there.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's the. It was a fish that basically. This is not libelous, and it came from Shanty at some point,
Okay.
somehow or other, ended up in that lake, and it got recognised as.
Oh, this is the 100-pounder that went back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they put it back in Shanty.
Right.
See,
Which
I would have very much liked to caught that, but I didn't because it had gone back to Shanty. But I caught the other ones. They're called JP.
I mean, there it is.
Mm.
A magnificent carp.
Yeah.
I think. I
Yeah,
love the
it
deep
is,
bodied
yeah,
ones,
yeah,
Clive. Yeah, well, I like them all, but that in particular,
Yeah.
great nick, characterful with those sort of displaced scales.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Massive.
Well, look at it. It's covering sort of half of your body there, isn't
It's
it?
colossal. Yeah, and my body isn't small. It's huge, isn't it?
What kind of a lake is it? And
Oh, that's only small lake, Dubois. Not very deep either. About, I don't know, 5-6 acres would be maximum, probably less, 5 acres. And it's kind of, again, if you imagine an oblong with a tail at this end where it narrows off, and then it comes round like that, and then there's like an island really offset to one side, so there's like a channel almost. It looks like a canal running down one side. Not rammed with them, but they're good average size, really good average size.
I mean, that's a huge fish. Obviously,
that area, man, it's ridiculous.
It's in
that Champagne
Yes.
Vitry area.
Yeah.
How many big carp are there if you do a circle of 10-mile radius or whatever? Ridiculous. So,
I mean, it's obviously great that fish was put back into Shanty.
Yeah.
They've never appealed to the big resis in that area,
A fish Shanty.
have you?
It's not like a cup of tea. Hey, when I was younger, probably when I was daft and younger and didn't care about going in boats and raging storms, I wouldn't have cared. But it's a messy business fishing there. Up to your neck in mud, and it can be.
Yeah.
Can be like that.
Are you on the Ian Macmillan spectrum of keeping your plot tidy then?
Not as tidy as him. Yeah, tidy. Not as OCD as in
Yeah.
wiping my bivy mat down every 5 minutes to make it clean now. But I like
But
it
you probably had a
tidy.
bivy mat though.
Yes. I still use a bivy mat
Do
because I
you?
don't put a ground sheet down.
Okay.
Never do.
I was going to say, I remember from telly actually having quite a palatial setup. But obviously, tracker, you were a tracker rep, so you had all the mod cons, wouldn't you, I guess?
And I've always been a bit of a tackle tart.
And make that stay comfortable, right?
Best you can.
Yeah, especially if you don't get your top 5 swim choices or something, may as well have
When I caught that,
the Dubois fish.
the Dubois fish the second time,
Yeah.
that wasn't a particularly pleasant week because the other two guys, Ian and I forget who was with us that time. Ian and anyway, whoever it was, they were at the other end, and I was far end of the lake. It's not really on to keep just leaving your rods out and wandering leaving your rods unattended. And it was, I think it was northerly wind coming straight down into my bivvy, rained a lot that way. It was pretty horrid.
Yeah.
It was horrid. There was a lot of laying on your bed with an envelope.
I mean, I don't imagine that's why you go to France. That's not your idea.
No, you get what you get, but I can't complain because I've never suffered too badly weather-wise.
Yeah.
But you get, as I say, you get what you get, don't you? But I caught a massive fish and some others, so it was worth it.
When you go to these places, I mean, it's worth, because they're so popular now, the sort of commercially side of things. Do you have in your head, if I come out first, I'll go here. If that's still available and I come out second, I'll go there. Do you plan that to that extent?
A bit. Maybe you shouldn't, but what have you got to go on?
Well, by the time you get there and you have a quick look
exactly.
around, you haven't got any
What have you
idea
got to go
still.
on? Unless the
Yeah.
fish are giving it that one
Yeah.
in a specific place, you're going to go from past experiences and just a gut feel, aren't you? It's tricky. I say spending a week in France can be a
It's
proper kick in the teeth if your swim choice is wrong.
And you can't
do
wholesale
anything
blame
against
yourself
it.
for it
You
either,
can't
can
do
you,
anything
if you get
about
it wrong?
No, you can't do anything about it.
Because you've got to make the call within an hour of having get to the lake, presumably. and knowing nothing
And
about
coming out first in a draw, is that better than coming out last? It's a nightmare. But it's how it is. What do you do? Do you not go?
Well, I mean, you've obviously done pretty well, Clive. I mean, the relaxed atmosphere, the relaxed attitude that you have, and the sort of confidence and your willingness to do something a bit different has meant that you've caught some huge carp.
Yeah, huge. Fish of a lifetime.
How many 80s have you had now?
Well, I've had 4 different ones, but I've got 2 of them, 4 different ones from 4 different waters. I've got 2 of them twice, so I've put 6 80-pound carp on the bank, if you like.
Which is that's
God, could you imagine that?
I mean, they're different waters as well. It's not like you've been to Rainbow and
Yeah,
caught.
that's kind of the creditable thing, I suppose, if you like, the 4 different waters. But I wish I could tell you, Richie, why, but I can't really, other than everything's obviously solid. I'm fishing that week, I'm fishing solid, I'm doing well, everything's in place, they're wanting the bait. I mean, I remember the bite from the Dubois fish the second time. They were all over that bait like a rat. I've got so many line bites before that actually trundled off. So
Talk to me about baiting on these trips, because it must be a source of great consternation for you. How much do you put in at the start? How do you know when to top up? How much bait do you even take with you, and how are you keeping it fresh?
we all take 30, 40 kilos, don't we?
Right.
And you can bring it home. I think I've only ever run out once. That was at Road Lake, and I was getting really close to the bone. I think, particularly in the more as time goes on, don't put a lot in to start with. Get a bite. And I think going out there and putting 10 kilos on a spot in some of the lake, it varies from one place to another, but I wouldn't do that on some of the smaller commercials. You put a bit in, just half a kilo or something, and
gently sort of feel it out. Are you looking to find a spot that is productive?
Yeah, I mean, it's something, you could be sat there. It's always tempting to move your spots as well, isn't it? That's not a good idea, is it? You bait up there, if rods are out, you see one crash somewhere else, I better put one there. So you put one there, and the next thing they're topping over the one you've just moved. It's the French carp are no different to English carp. They're well clued up. The Pascals, they're ridiculous.
It feels a bit Paisley-esque, that idea of Tim was always a real strategist, wasn't he, in terms of his baiting, and would like almost be happy to leave bait out for them to deem as safe. Do you buy that kind of argument? And probably fish washed over stuff over the top of it.
I've never washed my baits out. I don't want to contradict them. You've got to be careful in these kind of things. You contradict yourself.
Sorry, I mean the hook baits.
No, don't wash your baits out. Going back to what you just said, Brian Scoyles he's the most organised man on earth. Fact. He used to take his baits in like freezer bags from Tesco, probably, or something. Like Monday,
Really?
Tuesday. I think, Brian, what if you need more?
Yeah.
But this is just his way of doing it. But no, I wouldn't put a load of bait in. The Dubois thing I was quite pleased with that, because I thought they're going to go down this channel at some point. I've got the end of the island, so I've got all that water there, kind of to the right of the island. I've got the end of the island, then the channel. So I thought, what I'll do is I'll bait right across the channel, right across it. So if anything comes through there, they have to go across bait.
Like a wall of bait.
Yeah. Not a wall, but and that worked. And I caught the big one.
And do you tend to now take the same bait with you when you go to these French trips? How do you decide on what you're gonna take? Is it on past history? Or?
It's on my.
Is it gut?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a gut feeling. I tell you what, I took to one of my trips to Pascal's, and it worked really well. I thought Cell had been done to death, because I got on well with Kev and stuff, and Daryl at Mainline, and they kindly sent me some bait if I need a bit. So I'm going to take Activate. I've got Activate and some matching hook baits, and that did really well.
I'm a classic bait, and absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm pretty. Did Damo catch the sauce fish on Activate? It feels a bit like
Could
he
have
might
done.
have.
He could well have done. He's A bait's a funny one, isn't it? You could talk about it.
Well, you've been around it, Clive. I think that's why we've ended up talking about it, because you've been involved with the companies. You've made it yourself. You've been involved with Tim. You know, these are all.
Yeah, I could not. And this is just me, by the way. Don't decrying anybody else for doing it, or not derogatory remark. But there's no way I could just literally go into a tackle shop and grab a bag of so and so strawberry. Couldn't do it. You know what I mean? The shelf life thing. I'd have to know a bit more about it.
You're happy sitting behind a food bait as such?
Yeah.
Ideally.
Well, I keep harping on about it. A bait that they like and will come back for. They come back for it. You've got a chance of getting bites, haven't you? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what some of these baits do. Mm-hmm. The better baits.
Yeah.
You know, people say to me, and then they'll decry it, but they'll what's the word I'm looking for? Basically say, oh, such and such is a crap bait. And it's been said to me before, oh, sell crap bait. What? Are you off your nut? Mm-hmm. So much went into the lakes, the fish had no. That's the biggest load of doodads I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. I'd love to have had sell ahead of time before anybody else got a chance of it. It's just nonsense. Mm. It's a good bait. It still is a good bait.
So what do you have in the diary for 2023 in terms of, are you still very much active in pursuit of these big fish, Clive?
I've got a few French trips booked. I'm just trying to think. First trip, where's the first trip? There's no 80s, but there's fish approaching 70 and a really good average weight. Mm-hmm. Going there in April. I am going back to Graviers now. I believe that's done another 80.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? How big fish lakes are always big fish lakes.
I wouldn't say these are really conscious efforts to try and catch.
But you haven't had that at any stage all along either.
No, it could happen, couldn't it?
Yeah.
But there's big ones in gigantic, but you know, you have waters you really click with, like Winterset, where I can't do anything wrong so long as I'm in that swim. And then gigantic is just, I've caught carp there, but I've never come home thinking,
I've got that right.
Yeah, never.
Right.
Never ever.
I mean, it's fishing fantastically well, it seems, even this winter. You know, maybe you need to go back.
But 33 wraps. What's that? 132 yards. Fishing accurately. Nah.
Fish to strength sort of thing.
Yeah, not without a remote boat. I'll do it. Dan? Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? You've got to fish your strength. I mean, that's another thing that you learn, that, wow, that's a really good swim, Clive, but you've got to be at 40 wraps or something. Well, move on then.
Well, I think actually the picture that you've given us is in the tree line, which at Gigantica, which does offer a much shorter.
Yeah, they were all over me one night, like a rash in there while I was there last time.
What, boshing?
Yeah, and then I got the bite of the week the following morning, and it fell off.
Oh, Clive. It's just never meant to be.
It was obviously due to my character, my makeup, my personality, but I forget about these things so quickly. Do not dwell on it at all. Yeah, by the time I'm in the van, going home, blank.
Do you just sort of set on the trip? You're happy just to press the reset button and carry on and doing the same thing, confident and.
Yeah,
it's going to catch your fish, isn't it?
I know it sounds. Somebody other might say otherwise. I don't think I fished particularly badly on the last trip at Gigantica. I wasn't far out. It was 15, 16 wraps, spomming, and then at one point I thought, well, this isn't really getting a reaction. So I went round the tree line, put 2 marker floats out and give them a load, give them 7 kilos. That didn't work either. But I think they were in there for a brief spell in numbers. Not sure, I'm not saying there wasn't carp in there at other times, but there were a lot in one night.
And you didn't quite get perhaps the baiting levels right or whatever it was.
You don't know. That's
hadn't been in the lake long enough or whatever.
What, you mean you'd have been better off with washed out baits?
Well, I don't know. I'm just speculating, really.
You see, how long does it take for a bait to wash out?
No idea, Clive.
Well, no, but if you put a bait in on Monday, if it hasn't been eaten, it's definitely going to be washed out by Tuesday. And you've got your washed out baits, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I know these things are confidence things, aren't they? And things people have done in the past and confident. And if it works, don't fix it, so I'll keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you've got the baits with the more soluble elements in them, like your GLMs that you've asked to be put into your baits in the past. That stuff is designed to leach out, isn't it, pretty quickly? So you've got a bait that's fundamentally quite different after 2 days immersion, haven't you?
Yeah.
Whether they prefer it and consider it safe, I've no idea. But
I can tell you some weird things about that, really. Am I giving any trade secrets? But
we like a trade
well,
secret.
like krill, right? I mean, right, shelf life baits now are a lot better than they ever used to be. They're good, really good. I have no qualms in using them if allowed. But Lee did some tests with the two, so he did, just literally jars of water.
Yep.
And the shelfies gave off the attraction far quicker than
really. Yeah,
they're really good. So they aren't allowed on some lakes, are they?
No, and I'm sure technology is changing all the time, isn't there? There's going to be sort of more ethical preservatives, I'm sure, at some point, if they're not being used already. I'm no bait boffin, so I don't know. But
no, I'm not. I know the kind of things they use. There's citric acid and the potassium sorbate, things like that.
I know,
but that might be old hat now.
Yeah, exactly. Like Morsey, I remember listening to a podcast with him, maybe this one, maybe on a different channel, but he preserves his baits in salt now. Solely, he takes them in vats of salt, doesn't he? In barrels. Dave doesn't believe in using chemical preservatives, I guess, or doesn't want to.
I've seen him do that. I've seen him on the bank with his great big vats of salt. But again, it's all a confidence thing, isn't it?
Do you tend to use the lakes you go to? They've got freezers on site, for instance, or
most of them have.
Yeah.
But if they're allowed, I'm more than happy to use shelfies because they're just so good. I don't have an issue with that.
No.
And if they're banned, I won't use them. If they're allowed remote boats, I'll probably use one. If they're not, I won't. It's simple, isn't it? There seems to be there's a lot of rules put in place that kind of restrict our little lake. We try and keep it as just go and enjoy your fishing.
Yep.
Right. No nuts. That's it. So no nuts, no lead core. Other than that, you can use barb. You can be barbless. Put what you want in within reason, and the kind of thing that's going on. Nobody goes and lives on it anyway, so you're not going to get a team putting like kilos and kilos of peanuts in or anything like that. So I kind of like it to be that for me. That's why I've done it. Like I don't want to be dictated to too much. I don't want to, cause a major upset, but rules is rules, so you have to bend them a little bit.
And in terms of your, is there still a place in Clive Gibbins' fishing calendar for England or the UK?
Yeah. I do like fishing our little lake. It's like 2 3/4 acres. Lovely little place. Quite quiet, out of the way. Lots of carp, nothing massive. But it's too busy for me to go there very often. It's not very big. So I always think if I go with a mate or something, we're going to be taking up 2 swims that customers could have taken. So, and there's going to be people fishing everywhere. So if I get the opportunity, I do like to go there. But I'm a member of the Reedy at Baston, Embryo Reedy, and I intend to do a bit more there this year than I did last year. I like it there. Some nice fish.
What do you think you want from your English fishing now?
Careful to answer this. Peace and quiet-ish, really.
Which is one thing, but I see you as quite a sociable guy.
I am, but I will go on my own. I'll go fishing on my own, but chances are you go to Reedy, there's going to be somebody else there, and we all seem to get on.
Yeah.
So the kettle will all be on, I do like... I wouldn't go to France on my own.
No.
But, I'll go to England on my own and see what's what. I do like a social, but I'm not going to live in somebody else's bivvy. I actually do like my little space, being there, looking at the rods, looking at the water. I like it. Of course, I can take the dog to Baston as well. He loves it.
And the fish,
Lumping, right?
is it important in the UK? Perhaps it's not as important as France that you have a certain size of fish, or is it?
Well, they're pretty big in Baston Reedy now.
Yeah.
Virtually every fish you catch at Reedy, whether it's massive or not, is going to be nice. So they're really pretty. I mean, I can put things in different boxes if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Go to my old lake, my little pond up near where I live. What's the biggest you're going to catch now? 29. But I like it. Reedy, possibly going to be
Bigger,
scraping 50 possibly before long. That's nice, isn't it? And like beautiful scaly 30s and things. So I'm going to do a bit more there this year. That's the intention. And I'm going to Gravia. I think I might be going to Gigantica again with Damo, with Dad.
Maybe you can put it right. Get the monkey off your back.
I'd like to think so. Do you know, I go there, I think, right, this time, Clive boy, go on, you can do it. A week later, like, oh my God.
But you'll have eaten well.
Oh God, yeah. God, yeah, the food is fantastic. And I always have a good laugh.
Yeah.
I don't get down about it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, don't get me wrong. Everybody thinks I don't care that I've blanked. He's like, of course I do, but...
You all look so serene though, Clive, normally when you're fishing.
Well, what can you do?
Yeah.
Being angry and stomping about isn't going to catch you anymore, is it?
No.
It's just... So I do what I do, and when I get it right, I'll catch them and do pretty good. And if I don't get it right, I won't. Because it is quite complicated. If you try to explain to somebody about carp fishing and start at the beginning, they go, "What?" Yeah, but you have to find the fish first. How do you do that then? You go through all that. Then you have to give them some food that they like. How do you know if they like it or not, Clive? Well, you won't till you've tried it. What if they're not feeding? You know, that comes into it as well. What if they're I'm maybe in the wrong water column. It is complicated. Yeah, but then by casting out, Clive, is that all right? No, because you might scare them off. Because they don't like lines. Sounds a bit hard, this carp fishing. You can if you overanalyze it like that, you'll think you never catch one again. It's like watching the underwater DVDs, isn't it? Like, what? Getting mugged off every 5 minutes. But we still catch them, don't we? Got to catch enough to keep you interested, and I still am. After God knows how many years, 40, is it? Oh God, 25, 40, 47 years of carp fishing.
Mate, you're a credit to carp fishing, Clive. You really are, and I hope that passion, is always with you.
Well, I say I'm not obsessed with it like I used to be. It's very much an enjoyment, fun thing for me now. And don't get me wrong, it's still exciting when it rattles off. But I don't get wound up like, it doesn't obsess my brain all day, every day like it used to back in the day. I was that carp nut, for sure I was. But pick the right people to go with, that's another thing we haven't broached. But I'm really funny about who I go fishing with, who's going to be on the trips. Because we've had some weird characters on them, and they won't be going again. So I've got it down to a hardcore of...
Yeah, so if you don't get invited back by Clive, you were weird, basically.
Well, I'd blame it on somebody else.
Yeah.
I'd say he thought you were weird. I thought you were all right. No, there's Lee, there's Bully, there's Rich Jennings, there's Cole Jagger, there's a gang of people, Steve Head. You just know, and my two friends from Sheffield, Phil and John, I've got to mention them because they are diamonds. They just... Right, if we're going to France, invite Phil and John. There's never a problem, ever a problem with that from every aspect, from paying you quick for the deposit, from everything. They're just absolute diamonds, and they really go to town with the with the catering and everything. Unbelievable.
That sounds ideal, mate.
They have a massive big gazebo.
Yeah.
And right, they have enough food to feed. Are you coming for dinner today, Clive?
Oh, you twisted my arm.
It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? What pop do you want? We'll just get some out of the fridge, John. Got fridges, they've got everything. And they just brilliant characters.
Mega. Well, look, thank you so much for coming in. Which what we
And
hope.
we haven't gone onto anything seedy or anything, have we?
No, we've avoided it, mate. So well done. And
Welcome.
I hope that you can catch some more big ones this year, and hopefully one from Gigantica, eh?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'm blanking my arse off. I'm still there thinking, one bite could be the Immaculate Common.
There we go. I think that's a good point to leave it, mate. So thank you so much
No,
for
you're
coming
very
in.
welcome. Nice to see you both.
Cheers, Clive.
You're welcome.
The Thinking Tackle Podcast.